Welcome back to the Brew Crew podcast, everyone. This is episode 167, significant episode, end of year episode, social distanced episode. We got all kinds of fucked up shit in the air. COVID for one, Chuggalo Caterade. I'll just put it out there. COVID. Sorry if that medical information wasn't supposed to get out, but that's one reason why we're separate, and also we might hoarse your voice more, but the Chuggalos are going to notice Matt does not have the distinct punchiness that he normally has. Just in vocal cords, not in your attitude.
It was awesome because on day 24 of the Advent calendar, so we recorded that almost at midnight. So I got all of my beers in on their day. That was my goal for the 24 days, and people were text messaging me because I uploaded it rather quickly, and people were like, "Oh my God, your voice is almost gone. Is it because of how much you've had to drink, or just the voice?" And just the raspiness of doing like 7 Christmases. 5 of those were like within a 36-hour period and hundreds of miles apart. So I'm still recovering. Originally, before COVID struck our podcast family, if you will, I was going to punt on today because I sounded 10 times worse yesterday, but I feel like a little more energy and verboseness is coming out through my voice, so I'm excited.
Definitely. It kind of reminds me of the Brady Bunch Christmas special when I think it's Peter is going through puberty and he can't sing in the choir because he's got a squeaky voice. But he did. In the end, he did. And here we are. You didn't think you could make it, but you did.
And I did. And again, excited. And that's part of why I wanted the mic so close instead of us sharing one mic.
Yeah.
Having the mic right on top of me just to be able to catch what I'm able to expound.
Well, good news. Chuggalos Phil got me a microphone for Christmas.
Excellent.
The one that he uses that people have been commenting in our videos. I can bring 2, and he said he knows how to get 2 to work for one tablet.
That's
so we're gonna do this.
for a tablet. It's hilarious.
He knows his shit.
He's on top of it. That his livelihood is predicated on that, correct?
No. But
I thought he did a lot of his stuff via Zoom.
Oh yeah, he does all his work via Zoom. And
shits on my point in the first 3 minutes.
No,
I love it.
I mean, his livelihood doesn't depend on him having like superior audio. Yeah. He just does have that. That's just one of his things.
Awesome. JT, I'd be remiss if I didn't, this is good breaks in bang bang guidance. What was yesterday? Why is yesterday important to our podcast family?
Yesterday, Monday the 27th?
Yes.
I don't know. I can't think of any reason other than maybe Chuggalo Nicole, my sister, Chuggalo's sister. I don't know. Had her birthday. Happy birthday. She's 38 going on 50.
Same as
38 going on 30.
Same as me, so I'm just a little bit older than her. I wished her a happy birthday. Happy birthday, Chuggalo's sister.
Yeah.
And I put on Facebook that I was like, JT, we'll announce it on the podcast.
Oh, thanks. I'm glad you got the chance to do that first. Yeah, I haven't been on Facebook in a few days, but the Advent calendar brought me closer to Facebook, and I've already distanced myself again.
I'm glad you brought up the Advent calendar because this is going to be my first screen share of the day.
Do it.
This is directly for you, JT. I've got a problem with you, JT. You forgetting your fucking beer on your back porch or in the carriage house or wherever. I've got a problem with you, JT.
That's okay. I knew you would. I expected.
Russ Court, I'm calling you out.
Yeah, it's fine. It's okay. I knew when I left it that I'm gonna have to take this up with Matt, and that's it. But you know what? I think I recovered. I did a solo 30-minute episode Christmas morning. I thought it was great.
I feel like we had 24 beers. This is all the calendar. This is going to be the calendar rundown. So this Smash Cut calendar rundown.
Smash Cut.
On to JT's. I feel like in 4 videos, JT had 11 of his beers.
That's
No,
not true.
that's my feelings. So as long as I speak my
in all the videos,
as long as I speak my truth.
Yeah, speak it. I
So
want to know how this
11 beers in like 4 days. That's what it felt like. Because I will explain what happened. Christmas morning, I get up and my father-in-law listens to the pod, and he's listening in the background, and I'm critiquing myself, and my future sister-in-law is sitting there, and we're like, oh, this is what we could have done better, as we're listening to him and we're enjoying Christmas morning. And so I go to check the video, and then I can't find it. But I know he just listened to it. So in a matter of 45 minutes, I couldn't find it because JT posted 17 videos. So on YouTube, like, I realized I had to scroll over because in the matter, it was like the Christmas gift for all of you Chuggalos. That's the positive that I want.
Let me at least, yeah. So it was
14 videos within hours.
Let's say that.
JT over there, and the last thing I'm going to say, JT will be able to defend himself. JT had the opportunity to revisit what our old name used to be on the podcast because that's how he was drinking those last 11 beers, I felt like. Defend yourself.
Like butt chug? I was butt chugging them?
You're butt chugging them.
I was butt chugging those beers. All right. In my defense, I guess this is wrestler's court here. Without a jury. I bit off more than I could chew, but that's not an excuse for why I didn't do it because I was successfully doing this up until the 19th, maybe.
Yeah.
20th. So I don't know if you know, sometimes there's like a TV show or a movie and like somebody is doing some work and then they're called away super quick and like the computer just shows like work in progress, the cursor's blinking and like, I don't know. I'm just trying to paint a picture of like when I work nonstop. Like I don't have like a lot of space. So when I finish for the day, I literally get up and I leave my office and I don't come back. Well, with this advent calendar, I told Stev, hey, I will post your videos to YouTube.
Yeah.
And I guess I didn't think about it. What I should have said was, how about you post them to Facebook and I'll just put them on YouTube? Because you can post videos to Facebook.
Yeah.
But instead, we went the route of we post it on YouTube, then share the link, which I think is actually a better idea because we get the plays. But that was a lot of work because he had to share them to my Google Drive. Then I had to download them, then load them, and all this thing, copy and paste, blah, blah, blah. So that's one thing. I'll defend myself there. 2, when those 14 videos in a row, that was because, hey, my sister, speaking of, happy birthday, no offense, but her internet is fucking trash. I couldn't download even like a 3-minute video, and let alone upload, and the upload speeds are way worse than the download speeds. And so I actually did try to upload December 20th for Stev to YouTube, and it hung the entire week. You know how like it goes.
That explains that video. I was going to ask about that during pre-production, but we don't pre-produce the podcast. We talk about our lives. We don't talk about the podcast. Well, I was wondering what that video was because I had a similar experience at my parents' house. God bless them. They're on DSL. For me to upload an 8-minute video took 4.5 hours.
Yeah, and I don't know how when you upload a video, it's processing and it goes to 100%, then uploading and it goes to 100%. Then there's a final one that's like, I don't know, something else, processing again. And that step, it just never finished. So I was like, well, I got to wait for this to finish to load another video. Never finished. So I just waited until I got home to my beautiful 400 meg down, 20 meg up internet, which isn't that great.
Yeah.
But we don't have fiber here. So, and then I uploaded 14 videos in the matter of, I don't know, 2 hours.
It was incredible after I did because you were drinking because you were an hour ahead of me, but still like, it was incredible. And it's like, I panicked because I was like, I know I uploaded that video because again, my father-in-law was listening to it in the room next to us.
I had thought about, I don't want to bury Matt's video because your video was awesome. And congrats to, we have Sphil, now we have Fasil.
Fasil.
So that's good. Congrats to her. I thought the video was awesome, and I thought, okay, I don't think I'm burying it because I assume most people get through from Facebook.
Yeah.
And I did not share the link on Facebook because I didn't want to bury your video.
It was interesting because believe it or like that night, it was a long day, lots of driving, and I'll go over my stats at the conclusion of how I explain this video because that video is one of the most popular of the ones that we did for the entire Advent calendar. And a lot of it is Michelle, but Michelle, as soon as I arrived, because he had just proposed that day.
Wow.
And she said, I said, congrats, obviously. And she goes, hey, when are you recording this beer? Because she wanted to be in it. And I only met her 2 years ago for Christmas because last year was COVID. And she goes, yeah, when are we doing this beer? And I was like, and we're like in the midst of their first family Christmas. And I was like, don't worry, we'll do it later. We'll do it later. And then we finally got to it. And I was trying to find a lighted location in my in-laws' house that we wouldn't be involved in everything. So we got it in right before midnight, right before the day. But that's like when I started losing my voice and, we'd been celebrating. And again, the first 6 hours of their engagement, and the first question she had for me after the congratulations was, when are we recording this beer? The best part is on Christmas Day, she expected there to be another beer. So, so I was like, no, the calendar's done. And, I explained to her, like I said, it was awesome. She, like I said, she came with those ideas. Believe me, that wasn't coached up. I don't do a lot of coaching up on our guests. She definitely has ideas, favorites, and all of that. And she wanted to talk about that. It's nice to have a fan like that. That was because there are, and you've ran into it too. There are people that are genuine fans of this mess that we put together.
Isn't that crazy?
It's insane.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. And congrats to her. I hope the engagement was spectacular in every way. And it was nice.
Oh, are you saying the proposal? Can I give you the details on the proposal?
Yeah, I was going to ask. Yeah.
They're getting ready to head out to mass, and my brother-in-law just got down in his childhood bedroom and goes, "Will you marry me?" Just in the.
Hey, that's the way to do it.
No, it's awesome.
I mean, no air balloons.
Completely him.
Yeah, if it's on brand, then it's.
Oh, it's 100% up.
Eager, now a member of the family.
And he was in the video. He was the shirtless guy that came down.
Oh, all right.
That's my brother-in-law.
So we increased our Chuggalo on camera faces.
Yeah.
2 during the. Oh well, has Mike ever been on before Advent?
No.
Short maybe.
Well, I think I did an episode up at the cabin. I think I did a beer short with him. Yep.
So we had Chuggalo Spill, and then Chuggalo Fasil. Chuggala Bill? I don't know. No, we don't do that for any of the other.
No.
And Mike, who's we'll say he was a fresh face, even though he's been on before. That was great. I mean, we had a lot of new people.
And my sister, my future sister-in-law, Fasil, she calls him Scrubs. And Mikey goes, I think I've wore scrubs once. So I went back. He actually was wearing scrubs twice in the videos. So that's why she's like, oh, I really like the guy with the scrubs. And it's hilarious. Well, it's the details you pick out, because that's the same with me. I'm like the Michael Scott of nicknames. Like, when he just goes around the office in Utica, Mole, Chubby, like.
The obvious stuff. You are by far the most popular character in our Advent story. Just looking at the YouTube numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So congrats on that. You
Thanks,
had
buddy.
the most views. And you know what's funny is that I have by far and away, scientifically, statistically, my screen captures, it auto generates those screen captures.
Yeah,
they're so much better than, like, I'm smiling or I'm yelling, or it's always like catching me in the middle of something insane. But no one cares. I thought, that'll draw them in. They'll think, wow, in this 8-minute video, JT must be doing something crazy.
Two observations for mine. My hands were always, and I guess I'm very expressive. And then two, because mine were so condensed, I would always think of things that I wanted to say and I didn't say, or like in that first like 30 minutes, that refractory period.
Yeah.
I should have said this, or I should have said this. So that sucked. But I, even with all the freaking notes I take, even I would, forget things that I really wanted to say that would, hearken more things. But
Well, I have good news. You are an admin on every single tool we own. You can do it, whatever you can add videos if you want.
yeah, I just
stats.
It was awesome, and I want to go down some of my stats in case JT doesn't have them. I'm going to give my top three and my bottom three and my biggest surprise. So here are my stats. So my advent calendar, just the last 7 beers. I drove 1,180 miles. I had 2 new guests, and I had 7 beers in that time. So that was just the last 7 beers because most of the other beers were recorded in Ohio. The top 3 beers that I had for my calendar are AleSmith 2011 Decadence. That's by far, it's the barley wine. We had it on the 14th.
Yep.
Number 2 is the Trip Animals Morning Coladita out of Miami. It was the sour with the 6 ingredients that I look at. And it had a lot to overcome because it had orange in it. And I'm going to immediately punt that can most of the time. So that was awesome. And then my third one, I vacillated on this one quite a bit, but I went with the Pipeworks Curious Visitors. It was that sour ginger. I think I called it something else during the video. I didn't place ginger at all during the video, but those were my top 3. JT,
right.
Did you top 3?
Well, Decadence is definitely my top beer, and Coladita, Morning Coladita. I didn't do this particular list, but I agree, Morning Coladita. I'll have to think about what number 3 would be.
Sure.
But if you want to talk about either your bottom 3 or your biggest surprise,
sure,
I'll get that answer for you.
Is it all right? Can we crack a beer? Because I'm going to need a.
Let's crack a beer. What do we want to crack? A review beer or a regular beer or what?
Let's go with a review beer because there's a lot of. It'll be less on the review because this is our year end. Because we still got to do best beers yet. We've got a lot of screen shares coming up. There's still a lot of news, so I think this is going to be an intermingled review.
Oh man, we might have to change things up, or maybe not. We have one of these two. Hailstorm is going to be a 9.5, and the other one's 14.8. So where do you want to start?
Let's go with the bottle because I want to use one of my sweet Christmas presents I got.
Yeah, I would really like to drink this bottle. Let me grab my bottle opener.
While I go, this was a gift from.
Oh, that is sweet.
And he knows I love, and he also gifted me the Bush Latte bandana. That thing needs to be washed. It's so stiff, but I wore that on the Christmas Eve episode.
Gatorade got me a Bush Light apple flag for the bar, and Chuggalo Mom got me a sign for the door. The name is in stone now. Well, it's in wood. The Carriage House Bar. That's what it is. It's got a sign.
It's fantastic. Chuggalos, help JT out with the bathroom fund.
Yeah,
I had this discussion with a lot of people. With the bar, you need a bathroom close.
I know. A funnel with a straw out to the backyard will work too, right?
A big straw. Let's not get twisted on straws like a hose.
A hose, yeah, of course, a hose.
This funnel is filling up. The funnel is filling up.
The funnel's the urinal. You don't need to fit it into the hose. I mean, come on.
Well, I fill up hose. I don't know about you.
All right, first beer of the day, Jackie O's. We did have some Jackie O's during the Advent calendar, and I could not recall the standard that they make, but I know it now. And this is Return Flight. This is sold 1 bottle at a time. I don't believe you can buy 6-packs of this or 4-packs or anything. This is a bourbon barrel aged imperial stout brewed with, and this is why I bought it, Szechuan peppercorns, sesame seeds, and Himalaya pink salt. Very interesting beer. Nothing to do with winter or Christmas, but I thought, hey, fuck it. Sounds good, right?
All right.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
It's not going to explode everywhere because with it being a stout. So open this over your laptop or your expensive family jewels or whatever. It's It's not going to come up.
Open up most beers over your laptop. This is a 14.8% alcohol by volume, 12.7 fluid ounce beer, and this is Jackie O's. I don't even know what this is, like a huge acronym here. But this is 17 month in a bourbon barrel. I haven't even tasted it yet. Jackie O's return flight.
So the nice thing, we'll just talk about this beer briefly, but it's a nice thing that we're picking Jackie O's because we did a very robust Jackie O's review on the website and everything, especially when we were talking about the Chomolunga. So if you go to day 15 of the Advent calendar, you'd be on the wrong day. You got to go to day 13 of the Advent calendar.
All right. Definitely on the wrong day.
All right, my bottom three beers. This one, there was like a week of bottom beers, let's be honest.
Oh, yeah.
But my bottom three beers were Wolf's Ridge, Daybreak. Just so disappointing. The Oxbow Lupolo, great story, but that was the Pilsner that we had on day 18. And then the Butcher and the Brewer, Pilsner, the Frog and the Hog, the Cat in the Hat, and the baseball bat. The baseball bat. Excellent. So those were my bottom three, not in any particular order. Those were just all misses. So 2 Pilsners and a cream ale.
Oh man. Yeah. So I will I don't know what my third good beer is. I think there were a lot of good beers because I want to save one of those for the surprise.
My surprise is coming up.
But my bottom tier beers were definitely I had it definitely. Now I don't know. Well, I was disappointed by the Pipeworks beers, both of them. I was really disappointed by the peppermint one. I thought the potential was there. It was right at the beginning, not their fault. It was random. But, man, to just kick off Christmas with a peppermint beer like that, candy cane beer, I was super disappointed by that. I thought they could have really amped that up. Now, I did hear that there's a peppermint shortage in the United States. Apparently, like up to 50% of the typical peppermint inventory is missing or not available because
Interesting.
of the supply chain crisis. So many candy canes were not bought. Fortunately for my family, no one eats candy canes, but we continue to buy them for some fucking reason. So we have like 1 million candy canes, and they're all over a year old.
So it's interesting that you're talking about shortages. I didn't know about the peppermint. Did you hear about the cream cheese shortage?
No.
There was a cream cheese shortage, and Philadelphia was offering families $20 if they wouldn't make a cheesecake for the holidays.
Oh. Well, I would have taken that because I would not have made a cheesecake for the holidays. That just doesn't seem like a Christmas cake.
So back to your Pipeworks. You said both. There was 3 Pipeworks, so all of them were disappointing because you said.
Yeah. So Karate Cats and Unicorn versus Reindeer. Those 2.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I don't think that The Curious Visitors was terrible. I don't remember what I rated it.
So good.
But I don't remember hating it. So that's not going to make that list. And from there, man, I don't know. God, we did so many beers. I'm trying to remember what I hated. I think I hated Frog and the Hog. Not hated, but didn't like. Daybreak, not great for cream ale. Oh, well, I'll just go with disappointed. I was also disappointed with the Yellow Springs Stardust.
Yep.
So I don't know what my 3 worst are, but those are my 3 disappointments. The 2 Pipeworks and the Yellow Springs.
I think disappointment is because there was no terrible beers. There's disappointing
Not
beers.
Until you brought Wild Ohio to the carriage house.
Yeah, so that was God, that was a targeted and intentional, and that you sunk my battleship.
Great. I'm glad that you did that.
Okay, so now biggest surprise. There's a potential here. We might have the biggest surprise. The biggest surprise for me was in style, not by brewer. The biggest surprise for me was the English bitter hung from the moon from Branch of the Board.
Both English. There's an English
bitter,
bitter, English mild. both of them, I had this preconception of what it was going to taste like, and both times I was totally wrong, and I loved them.
The English mild episode, day 22, was one of my favorite to record because Chuggalo Mikey Scrubs kicked off the episode. It's the first time besides the girls episode where we've had not you or I kick off the episode. So that's an interesting stat for it.
That I had thought about.
And that's where I came in and cracked the beer from the side because that was the beer he switched because he switched his English styles when he paid the carry-on fee to take his beers to San Antonio on his business trip.
Does he go, when he goes on his business trips, does he wear the scrubs? Is that part of the trip?
No, I think most of his inspections he's wearing suits. So it's the complete opposite. He gets to wear pajamas to work, but when he's inspecting, he's wearing suits.
I have literally no idea what he does.
I'm glad you bring it up. He'll love this. He balances centrifuges.
Balances them.
Yeah, so he's actually okay. True story.
Like something you wear scrubs for.
That's how so he works in a hospital and he works in a lab. All of the technology in the lab, he is responsible for making sure it works and it's all calibrated and everything. But that's too busy to say. So I just tell people that he balances centrifuges.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Because he does analyzers and all that crap. Balancing centrifuges is so much better. So like, what's that?
Is he an engineer?
Oh, no. He started as a lab tech and doing draws on patients or whatever, but he's since rose through the ranks. So, and he's way more technology capable than I am. So he's just responsible for all the tech in the lab, all of the analyzers, everything. Too busy to say. So I will say a typical call for him is, excuse me, Scrubs, our centrifuge is only spinning at 32,000 RPM. We need to have it at 42 to separate the lipids. Got it. I'll be right there. And he like sprays a little can of air dust on the centrifuge so it spins better.
Air dust. Yeah. Do we need to bleep any of that out? That sounds really specific.
Yeah. So it's very, very, very particular. But he also, as we were doing our Wisconsin goodbye, because I was at his house for one of our Christmases, he goes, if you spin it too fast, you'll explode the red blood cells. So you can make centrifuges too efficient for spinning blood.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's
red blood cells will explode. That's incredible.
I think it's at like 60,000 RPMs.
So how small of a particle does something need to be to create a I guess fission? You're exploding a red blood cell. It's a cell, not a particle, I guess, or an atom. But how big is this explosion? Are you blowing hospitals up or what?
So this is something, two things. He'll respond and put a timestamp. I still don't know how to respond to timestamps in YouTube.
Write the time.
So I have to do it, write the time?
With the colon. So if you want to reference this time, you would put 28:27, and it will link it will jump straight to this part of the video.
I never knew that.
That easy. Yeah.
So I
love that you were the one who could, because it wasn't you who even gave pushback. It was some of the Wisconsin Chuggalos who were like, fuck that. I'm not doing that.
Yeah. So, but no, he does that. And him and I were joking about that. And we could just do a podcast and I'll get to it on the beers that we drank that night leading into that English mild and English bitter, polar opposites for scores with me. I think I rated the English mild just because of who I was with and, the other beers that we had that evening. But, so he fixed the centrifuges. So I'm going to close the loop on that story.
Well, that's incredible. And originally I didn't think that's something you wear scrubs to, but now I understand.
Yeah, so like in the COVID era, sometimes he'll still have to go draw blood. So like but because there's 78 people that are.
So I asked about the engineer because there's these engineers who've been growing facial hair around my universe of contacts. And all of the engineers seem to have this distinct grayness on the sides of their chins, which Mike has.
Yeah.
And I thought maybe this is something that engineers grow, and I want this same thing. It's distinct and it looks great.
Deer hunting. Deer hunting.
I can't do it.
Facial hair gets grown out during this time of year for deer hunting.
No, I'm not talking about the facial hair itself, but just those
Yeah.
two distinct patches of gray on the sides of the chin.
That's why. So his wife and I are born on the same day, 8 minutes apart, and he's older than us. So we blame him for why we're getting older. We say once you stop aging, we'll stop aging, because it was Chuglow's Scrubs, excuse me, his birthday a couple of weeks ago. So.
Well, happy birthday.
Yeah, so he's old balls, and his better half and we're young and youthful.
Yeah. Yeah, young and youthful. I'm basically a baby.
Essentially.
All right. That was a lot of good.
That's a great. I'm glad we've cracked a beer, because I don't know if we'd be able to shot, because I'm only halfway through my list of things that we need to cover.
Yeah, this is going to be a long episode, so I didn't focus so much on Advent.
Yeah.
As I did on the year.
Yeah. Oh no, the year is coming.
I wanted to put thought into that, so I'm going to keep going as you're going.
Yep.
I'll just piggyback on whatever categories you've come up with.
Please do.
But I will say, Jackie O's, who we're drinking now, did provide one nugget of, let's say, I don't know, nugget of I don't know, what's something that's great. It provided something.
A gold nugget.
That's Chugalos Phil became obsessed with Chomalungma. And he still references Chomalungma. And that was Jackie O's. And I think that's awesome. If it wasn't such a complicated word, I would change his name from Svil to Chomalungma. You still would use Svil because you came up with it.
I like Svil or Chomo.
Chomalunga. Chomo, I don't know that he'll like that. Chomo.
The problem, like with things like to be put in the vernacular, it can't be challenging. And like if you say Chomalungma three times, you're going to change the pronunciation 2 out of the 3 times.
Yep.
And that's tough. So no, I appreciate the love for that.
Yeah, totally makes sense. All right. I agree about the surprises.
What was that?
I agree about the surprises. The English beer.
So we came to the same agreement. So before we get into our year in review, because that's going to be the one thing because I spent way more in beer. I was like, I'm going back home. I'm not going to spend any money. So I spent over $300 at 2 different stores on beer. But anyways, I want to say the rise in craft beer representation, even though seltzers have, and I bought some seltzers, some different ones. Even in craft beer geeks on Facebook and a couple of the groups, even though craft beer is on the downturn, I think it's more represented at mom and pop shops. So like Pat's, Hall's Corner Market, we call it Pat's, but all these other little places where you can get outside of your shelf turds and your swills, you can get a couple of golden nuggets. I've been linked on a few things in Craft Beer Geeks that everyone sees Ohio, and they're like, oh, Matt needs to know about this, but it's up like in Toledo. I'm not driving to Toledo for beer. But it was interesting in this picture, the Brewing Project, which is my hometown brewer, was in the lower left-hand corner, and that's not why people are linking it to me. People are linking it to me because they're like, oh, we don't know Ohio geography. Maybe Matt would go to this beer store that's 2.5, 3 hours away. I appreciate the being linked on it and the information, and it's awesome. I thank you for thinking about me. But all these little stores. So the reason I bring this up, my grocery store I went to for 20 years growing up and buying groceries, I found finally the Warheads beer, JT.
Yeah, I saw that you checked into.
I had the least desirable, what I thought, and I gifted some of them or whatever. And it's in the fridge. But I'm so excited to drink. Those are like. So those were like my number. Those were really high up for me. Like they're in my top 5. Like I'd pay money on the internet to get these beers. But I found them at the grocery store. Excuse me. That I grew up, and they just happened to be there. So that's
wow.
And that cost me a bunch of money. Buying.
That's all right.
Buying what they had there too.
You haven't tried it yet?
Oh no, I've tried a few of them. They
Oh,
sold them in they sold them in 4 packs, but they were one of each flavor. So it wasn't.
that's cool. I like that idea. I know
I
you don't
don't,
like.
because I don't want pineapple and I don't want watermelon, but those are the
You
ones.
also don't like, what do they call those? Seasonal mixes of like Leinenkugels where they got like 4 beers, 4 packs or something. Is that? I'm talking about.
Like a sampler variety. I like samplers in seltzers, because then I can establish which ones I don't like. But seltzers, if you notice, most of the time now, in a 12 pack for seltzers, it's hard to get one flavor. They're typically
Yeah,
samplers.
they're always variety packs. So
So I got the Warheads beer. That was the end of that. I'm
Warheads
excited.
beer. I want to hear about, like, how sour is it?
Um, it's not as sour as I would like, but they're good. They're
I think
crunchy.
Urban Artifact is going to get. I think they're going to get there. I think Urban Artifact is going to do something that's going to blow our minds and be so sour and have no other flavor other than sour. That, like, you remember those old Gushers commercials in the 90s,
Yep.
where kids'
That's what I want.
faces would go inside? That's what's about to happen at Urban Artifact, and I hope it happens, and I hope that somehow we find out that it has happened, so we can go have it. But I did see that Warhead thing. Now, on the topic of craft beer versus seltzer, I am noticing a complete opposite from what you've noticed. Craft beer is not on the downturn. Craft beer is actually going up. Yes, yes. Well, not the fruit, but the sour face. I don't know if it's Gushers. Maybe it's something else.
No, it's just like how they're like they explode later in the
there, yeah. Go up. There was one there. Right there. GIF. That one. Yep. That's what I want. That's what I'm looking for. Look at that. Look at that girl on the top right. I mean, if I could experience that, that's like sour orgasmic. I would call that sour orgasmic. That's the description. I want that out of sour beer, and I think Urban Artifact's close as fuck. I don't know if it's going to be one of their like dinosaur beers, which are a more premium, or if it's going to be one of their Untapped beers.
Yeah.
But with the trends, and I think it's appropriate to talk about this on the last podcast of the year.
Yeah.
I think seltzer has. I think it's they went hard, they went too hard, and now it's scaling down. You're only seeing the winners now. You're seeing I've actually seen in the past week the Bud Light seltzer people are now actually expanding the Bud Light seltzer brand to other types of beverages, which are not seltzers, but they're in like their seltzer family.
Yeah.
Because I don't think there's any success there. You have White Claw, you have what, Truly, I don't know I couldn't honestly tell you.
Vizzy, Press.
What's alcohol versus not alcohol, because I don't really like give a shit about any of the seltzers. But I've seen, even through the mom and pops will dictate the trends. Because if they adopt it, that means that there's a necessity. The craft beer has never been stronger. Seltzer, yeah, I think that there's going to be 3 or 4 champions, and we're never going to hear about it again. Like, none of these companies are going to be like, we have a seltzer brand now. Oh, Coors has one, Miller has one, Bud has one, blah, blah, blah. Nope. I think it's over.
So I purchased seltzers. I've had a lot of seltzers in the last week.
You're bigger on that in that market.
Because it's a nice change, and I can only drink so much beer. I drink a lot of beer the last week. Whatever, it's a beer podcast. I need to have a seltzer to like cleanse my palate, to continue my buzz, but not feel like overly full. And that's what seltzers have for me.
The novelty.
Yeah.
Or the reason.
Yep.
Why seltzers are important, and I like that reason. That's the right reason.
It's
a sustainable buzz.
It's tough buying a sampler though, and so Press is one that I heard about on a few podcasts I listened to. There's an apple cinnamon seltzer. Complete throwaway for me. It would be a mystery cooler of death and I think seltzers have a place in the mystery cooler of death.
Mhm.
Uh, but there was other ones there, like the basil lemonade. I was like, this is going to be, it was a home run.
No way.
Anything with like a red berry. So there was like a lingonberry in there too. Absolute home run for me. But like those three, so like I'm buying that sampler 12 pack. If I'm a return customer, there's three in there that I automatically don't like. So I'm paying 18 for a 12 pack. There's three I don't like. So then I'm paying 9 for a 12
right.
pack. So then I'm paying $2. So then I'm getting up there for an at-home drink. And I'll still buy it because the missus likes it too. And I like the conversation, obviously. We put a podcast out there, so a podcast of our conversation. I like my conversation with the missus because there are so many beers that I had when I was home that I gave to my father-in-law, or I gave to, and I was going to have him on the pod. He came in the one time after I stopped
we were
recording.
talking. I don't think we were recording though.
We weren't recording. I tried so hard, and this is my biggest regret from the advent calendar. My mom had been watching, because they were short enough that they could keep her attention. I tried for like an hour to get my dad on the podcast. And he would have been, I tried so hard. It would have been the best Christmas present ever. And other people like Scrubs was asking for it too. Like, get your dad. It doesn't matter what beer. Because he would wear the bitter beer face. He would have wore the bitter beer face on the 23rd. It would have been fantastic. It was that milk stout, so a complete departure from what he drinks. But everything has a balance, and it's not for JT and I. JT and I will always find something to buy. We'll always spend way too much money. And we'll buy whatever. Like, we want our standards, and that will probably come into our year in review. It's nice to have variety. And that was my hearken from this section, was I just like the representation in stores that didn't have it before. Stores where you could only get, like if you got a torpedo or something like that, you were excited to have a torpedo. I've been gone, unfortunately, from Wisconsin for 10 years. I didn't shop at that grocery store in a long time. It was odd for me to walk out of there spending $175 on just booze and liquor, the beer, if you will, because I never had that before. So it was odd seeing that stuff,
Yeah, I totally I could see how that would be odd. All the seltzer stuff, I don't want to even really address it because you're closer to seltzers than I am, but I will say that I feel like we're just seeing the decline. Otherwise, we would see such an explosion that you could essentially have Chuggalo, your wife, do her own seltzer podcast because there's so many options. There's just not going to be that many options. I hate to say it. Maybe the innovations that have happened, like look at this one, the Szechuan peppercorn. What the fuck is that? I don't even know. Yeah. Maybe those same things will happen on the seltzer side, but I don't think you're going to see that type of explosion. Craft beer at the mom and pop shops, the grocery stores from our hometowns, the little places that we haven't been in years. The thing about that is, one, there's just too many beers to try. So there's no exclusion. You can be included as long as you want to be.
Right.
I forget where I went. Where was it? But I was just like, what the fuck is this shit ass beer collection that they had? I can't remember where I was. It was a big store, a big name brand store, maybe Walmart or something. I don't understand how, with all their power and all of their analysts and logisticians and fucking whatever, Walmart can't figure out craft beer. They just suck at it. But the mom and pop shops, it's not exclusionary. We've seen together actually the result or the process of the distributor talking to the bar. We saw it at D20 in real time, and we saw it at Barrel House in real time. And at Barrel House, I forget her name, but she dealt with that guy with
Sarah.
Yeah, Sarah. She dealt with him.
Out shout to Sarah. Sarah and I talk very regularly.
Oh, fantastic. She was just steel fist right to the face. Like, I'll take the beer. Don't sell me the shit that you can't sell to anyone else, because we're a barrel house and we have good beer. That was awesome. But I've never actually seen the other end, like the payment end, because eventually there's got to be a transaction. With knowing that I don't know how that part goes, the business side, there's nothing exclusionary about craft beer. So the mom and pop shops, they're in because there's so much beer. You can have something.
Okay, there's a couple of thoughts there. So, one, with Walmart, people that drink craft beer aren't shopping at Walmart. Period.
Walmart has a customer segmentation problem.
They want
not able to draw the right customers.
They want 17,000 rolls of toilet paper for $3. You are hoping to stretch your dollar. When you drink craft beer, there's people in JT and I are different in this world. JT likes to stretch his dollar. I mean, we all like bang for our buck.
I don't know
let's
where
be
that
honest.
came from. I don't stretch.
No. We all like bang for our buck. I won't shop at Walmart. So like when there isn't like something that is like hoity-toity there, or like craft, or like pretentious or whatever, I'm not going to get pissed off because it's Walmart. It's a different exchange. A brew ambassador is not going to Walmart. They have to go to Arkansas and talk to a regional manager. They're not going to a singular Walmart. The barrel house is one of one. Distributors are going there. And
but
the people.
Target has local craft beer. And I guarantee you that Wolf's Ridge is not going to Target headquarters in Minnesota.
No.
Because they have the smarts and they have the personnel to deal with on a local level, and so does Walmart. And I'll get to why I think Walmart should have craft beer. But
so I know they're not going to the local stores. I know how that relationship happens. It's a transactional relationship. It actually does occur at Minneapolis headquarters. They look out to like the regional buyer share of each segment. This is big data. So this is all. I don't want to explain to you your world.
Please.
After this, we're gonna have to get to this beer because I'm completely done with it. So and then we'll get to our urine review, and then we'll crack the second beer. The saturation point. When I go to Walmart, I'm not buying, or Target or whatever. When I go buy beer, I'm going to a targeted store where I'm just buying beer. I'm not buying an add-on. That's me. That's me personally, though.
This is you're thinking like you're going to target market to a consumer of craft beer. You're not doing that.
Nope.
These are add-ons.
Yep.
The beer at Walmart is an add-on. You're there. I'm there. I never shop at Walmart. I know Matt likes to say I stretch my dollar. I fucking hate shopping at Walmart. It's always a miserable experience for me. I'm always more angry when I leave than when I arrived. But there's reasons. Like my kids wanted a PlayStation 4, and they had the best price. I went and got the PlayStation 4. What you're doing from a marketing perspective is you're saying you came here for a PlayStation 4, grab a 4-pack of this good beer. It's just an add-on. It gets you a little bit extra revenue. It's not a lot, but it adds up countrywide. Target it's not like this is something that I'm thinking of on the fly. Target does it, Meijer does it, all these companies do it, except Walmart. They suck at it. And maybe they don't need it. They don't need it. You're right. The customer
they don't need it.
Craft beer. But that could tie into your and my discussion about getting our dads on the podcast, which would be hilarious because they both probably preach about having hair on your chest and drinking old school American beer, but then would drink an IPA and totally be like, what the fuck? That's a whole conversation.
I guarantee it's been a decade since my dad's been in a Walmart.
But if you could spend $9 extra, when you weren't going to spend those $9 extra, that's where Walmart makes their money.
Right. It's just
that's all I'm saying.
They're
have big data experts.
Their marketing and their GIS individuals are way smarter than you and I combined. Well, maybe not you, but definitely me. Everything is targeted because it's such a big square footage. They have to make so much per square footage. And if they have
True. That's true.
a Jackie O's super, and
I
it's,
guess I didn't think of it from a square footage perspective, but I just don't see
26.
why Target and Meyer don't think the same way. But I think we're on different sides of whether or not craft beer is on the rise or the fall. And I think we're on different sides of whether or not it's smart for the big box stores to have it. But we do agree that the mom and pops are the place to go.
I have to no. So I have my notes here. I'm gonna share my screen. I just want to make sure because this is I have here Rise. These are my notes. I had to return because that's the rest of my
Rise. Why did you
Rise?
say
Because I said like I went to my childhood grocery store and I bought Warhead's beer. So it's the rise and representation across the spectrum of beer that I couldn't get around here. I just had to.
My bad. All right. Fair enough.
Okay.
I thought I heard you say fall and I was like hanging on that. I was like, what?
I probably did, but that was not my. So it was a healthy. Right, cool. It was a healthy check on my facts.
All right. Okay. Before we forget, let's review this beer.
Off the top rope, return flight. So this is a good beer on its own. JT went through the ingredients. So like Szechuan peppercorns, I didn't get any of the pepperiness from it. That elicited something for me. Had you said that this was a Jackie O's bourbon barrel aged stout, that would have been that. But once you start saying Szechuan peppercorn, sesame seeds, salt just makes you crave more and makes you thirsty. That's me pushing JT. Hey, let's grade this beer so we can crack another one. That's me.
Yeah, that's true. Good point.
Going like this. Sesame seeds, whatever. Where are they going to elicit in a beer? You're just trying to be more fancy than you need to be. It works sometimes. See our discussion on the Trip Animals Morning Coladita out of Miami, Florida. Sesame's, again, it doesn't, like, what's that going to offer to a drink? So off the top rope, all of that included, this was a delightful beer. This is adding volume to our podcast. I give this a 4.25. The other shit, just put it in there. Don't say that you put it in because you're getting people like JT and I'm pointing towards the screen. It's dual screen. You're getting us to buy it. It's like, oh, look at this hoity-toity shit. It's not on my palate. He bought it. It's a great beer. If you took off sesame seeds, you took off peppercorns, it'd be a better beer in my opinion because I can't taste that.
100%. I've been having conversations with Randy Orton lately. Randy Orton wants everyone to believe that he drinks wine and he's a wine drinker now. He's got a wine that he likes, and I'm talking this way because I want Randy Orton to be pissed off when I'm talking about it.
Does Randy Orton think I hate him?
I don't think so.
Okay. I know you're kind of stuck in the middle.
I've never explicitly asked him that question, but I don't think he thinks you hate him. Do you hate him?
Okay. No, I don't. It's just yeah, it's a JT response, but it's just weird, like all the interaction and zero interaction. So no.
Yeah. Randy Orton and I text. I would say, if not every day, probably every other day. But he does. Sometimes he drops a nugget, and I asked Caterade about this. I said, why do some of the things that Randy Orton say, why do I overthink it so much? And I don't know. I think it's because Randy Orton and I are similar enough to where I don't know why he wants to tell me or announce that he drinks this certain wine because he's excited about it, and I'm excited about beer.
JT, that's like me with you. I overthink so much shit. It's like
overthink it. I literally.
I wish our conversations were more checkers and less chess.
Yeah, I wondered that myself because I feel like I'm playing checkers.
No, false.
Then all of a sudden I feel like my checkers became chess pieces.
Puts out 17 moves.
But I will say this about wine. One thing, wine has a tendency to put all this fucking gibberish on their bottles. And this is only confirmed by Phil, who I would argue is an expert in wine. This guy knows wine. Like, he lived in California for a long time. He's been to a shitload of what are those fucking things called with the grapes?
So JT's trying to
brewery and distillery, but neither of those are right.
So,
what is it?
Yeah, a winery. So
That is
JT's trying to express that Chuglos Phil is a borderline sommelier. And we've talked about this because he's a part owner of a winery, correct, in Australia. He understands notes in a wine.
Yeah, he understands how to taste things, which is like something that when we started this podcast in 2018, I would have laughed in his face about. But I get it. And the reason why I'm explaining all these things, Chuggalo Randy Orton, Chuggalos Phil, their affinity for wine, and the idea that wine companies do put bullshit on their bottles is because when I saw this bottle,
Amazing.
I thought, wow, here's some shit we've never had. And here's something that we are absolutely going to talk about because the flavor is going to be so different. But there is nothing different about this beer with these ingredients. It is good. That is indisputable. This beer is fucking good. Szechuan peppercorns. What's the other one? Sesame seeds. You can get a sesame flavor. There's sesame flavor at regular Chinese food places in the United States. This beer hyped itself, put a bunch of bullshit on the label. Maybe it did have sesame seeds. Couple seeds per gallon of liquid, maybe, 2 seeds per gallon. Hey, we got sesame seeds. Peppercorns. I don't know. Did you stick the whole peppercorn in there? Did you grind it? How are you getting this peppercorn seed or peppercorn into the actual liquid? And you really had a marketing opportunity because Szechuan peppercorn is the main ingredient from what I understand to the McDonald's Szechuan sauce that is marketed specifically for Rick and Morty fans. And I know Jackie O's is probably not trying to market to Rick and Morty fans, but there's crossover there. And I think you had something. However, none of those flavors pop out. I don't taste anything that's like distinctly unique about this beer. It is very good. It's clearly barrel aged. It has that barrel aged tinge. Szechuan. It is one thing I don't think Matt mentioned, which he always mentions, is that this beer hides the alcohol so well. This beer is almost like a chocolate coffee bread. That's how I describe this beer. Chocolate coffee bread, no alcohol, can barely taste it. It's thick, it's dark, it's got bitterness. It just does not have that alcohol bullshit. Fucking great beer. Just does not deliver what's advertised. I am a little higher than Matt on this beer just because of its flavor. I wish I could penalize it on those ingredients. That's not really something we do. We just base it on taste. It's a 4.5. But man, if I was to incorporate what they're telling me is in this beer, it would be a lot lower because that did not deliver.
Our scoring it is always vacillated so much. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't, and that's the beauty of the podcast. That's why you have to keep listening, is because sometimes we will and sometimes we won't. It just depends on how we feel that day.
During Advent, we did oppose each other quite often,
and that's the beauty.
Often, I think than on the actual pod.
I think it's important that we're not groupthink, and that's something that has come consequent of the Advent calendar. Breweries have reached out to us and have been like Devil's Win, for example, free pub there have been like, come to our brewery, we'll give you beer.
All right.
I appreciate that breweries are willing to do that, and it's awesome because we always ask, send us your beer or whatever. It's different when we do that in front of you because we're going to
Oh
feel the
yeah.
pressure. The exception, and the last time we did that was Crooked Handle. That was good. And we didn't even have their food, and their food is phenomenal.
Oh, their food is great. Yeah.
Their beer is above their food.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. I'm glad to see them expanding, and but there is like an inherent gravitas on making sure that we give them a quality product, but we paid for everything we drank. We all bought gear when we were there.
Yeah.
It's important that we have that integrity, and JT and I and even Cobra, when we all agreed on that. Like, if we start like gaining momentum and going to places, that we still have that integrity, not because of, followers or money or anything, because it's never been about that. It's one, we know these people are struggling, to make it by. Two, don't give the little podcast $50, and we'll pay you because we want you to push the envelope and to continue doing good things. That's all it is.
If you give us your best,
yeah,
you will succeed. That's the thing. Mm-hmm. That's why the Busch Light commercials were always kind of funny, because not only were they funny in content, but it's the joke that we're only going to be bought by the companies that buy people.
Right.
Like, you think Matthew McConaughey drives an Infinity? Not if it's not free.
Lincoln.
Fuck about
Lincoln.
Infinity.
Lincoln.
Whatever. Exactly. See, it doesn't even matter. Like, these companies pay all these people. I can't even remember the brand. But so we could be bought by Busch Light, because we're gonna get on here and be like, Busch Light is a 5. Oh, we love Busch Light. But when if we go to your brewery, yeah, we have to pay for it, because it gives us that comfort zone, that kind of push to rate it how it deserves to be rated. And two, you're going to bring your A game, and if you're on the pod as a guest, that's even more. The likability of what was his name? Dan or Don at Crooked Handle? What was his name?
Jason.
Exactly.
Jason M. I don't want to dox it. It's Crooked Handle. Jason Moore.
No,
fantastic.
Awesome. The likability was off the scales, and I think even let's say that we went in and we just shit on the beer. Jason himself sold Crooked Handle as a viable weekend, just not getaway, because it's not a vacation, but like a weekend trip down to Springboro
destination
for date nights, or Cincinnati people. Go to Springboro, go to Crooked Handle. It's worth the trip, and he sold that. So I think it's the same thing. We're not gonna shill a beer, a craft beer. We'll definitely shill Busch Light.
Yeah. And you encapsulated it there very well. So, anyways, we have our scores for our first beer. I had to crack another one, because this is what the week between Christmas and New Year's is for. Mm-hmm. It's for getting together with your bros, drinking beer, and just talking. It's just we're digital, but again, I think this works to our advantage, because we have a lot of shit we want to share with you, the Chuggalos. So I want. So JT, you just broke up there a little bit. So I didn't hear what you said, but looked.
I said literally and figuratively. Send me your address. I'll share my shit with you. That's what I said. We have so much shit to share.
So JT, with your permission, I would like to get into the 2021 top beers on Untapped. Can we go there?
Ooh, on Untapped, sure. Yeah, let's do it. Do you want to crack another beer, or are you good? So I need to crack a different one.
No, I will crack whatever you crack. Don't worry.
I'm cracking this Hailstorm. This is the second rated beer for the episode. We can rate every beer if we want to. But this is Hailstorm Night Moves. It would be completely bonkers if I didn't come back from Chicago with at least one Chicago-based beer. And that is, I actually came back with two, both of them Hailstorm, both of them gifted to me by my well under 21 of age nephew, who I don't know how he acquired this beer, but he was able to. And I was his secret Santa, or he was my secret Santa, and he gifted me two Hailstorm beers. Night Moves was one of them. Imperial Milk Stout. I did not go to Binny's this time. So this is the only Chicago beer we're going to have from my Chicago trip, which is very rare. 9.5% alcohol, chocolate, raspberry, vanilla, milk sugar. Let's crack this bitch open. If you remember.
Oh, it's primed. It's primed.
Oh, it's primed. 3, 2, 1. If
That
remember,
gets everywhere.
Done a forklift operator. Do you remember that beer?
Yes.
That was Hailstorm. My nephew, not yet Chuggalo Frankie. He is a forklift operator. So Hailstorm has an entire line of beers that are forklift operator. This is not one of them, but I figured I'd mention that. Oh, we're going shirtless. Well, we're going half shirtless until the tank top gets pulled down. I can see nips.
I needed. I didn't have a rag.
Ooh, I could see nips. You need a rag?
No, I did because it exploded all over my monitors.
Oh, dang.
I just want to say I like waffles.
I saw that. I wasn't sure what that meant. What is that?
That's an out-shout to one of my friends. He's on Twitch. I'm not going to give him free, but I told him that I'd wear. Oh yeah, he's got merch.
That's nice merch too. That looks like a high quality shirt.
Hey, JT, less followers than us.
He's got less followers than us, but has merch.
Oh yeah,
high quality, thick T-shirt merch.
Oh yeah, believe me,
it's heathered purple.
It's a. It's my least favorite T-shirt too. It's a Gildan.
Oh, it's a Gildan.
I still bought it, and it cost me like what I would pay for 3 T-shirts. But anyways, I support friends.
$60?
Like our friends support us. It costs what? I'll tell you. 60? No, it costs 40. But
$40 for a T-shirt? I'm sorry, that's too much. Even at WWE events, it doesn't cost that much for a fucking T-shirt.
You got to support your friends because
that Twitch markup. I would support if it was a friend. I would support that brand. But I want a coupon code. Save $1. Coupon code. Type in coupon code buttchug for discount.
So, interesting on this beer.
Yeah, this beer is interesting.
We've had a chocolate raspberry in the last, or a double chocolate cake, the Steb donated beer.
Yeah,
it's awesome that you got this as a Secret Santa gift.
Yeah, I agree.
So I have thoughts as we drink this beer. Can we go to? So I did a screen share right originally, and I stopped it.
Yep. Yeah, you stopped it.
Yep.
Tinley Park, Illinois, by the way, is where, I don't know what it's called now, but it used to be called the Tweeter Center, and then it was called something else, is where all the festivals are held in the Chicago area, except for when Lollapalooza. That's different. That's Grant Park. Tinley Park is where, like, Warped Tour is held, and some other stuff. I don't fucking remember.
All right. So JT can't see me.
I can't see you. Oh, I can see you. Yeah, I can see you.
Oh, you still can see me? You can still.
I'm in the corner, top right corner. You don't see me?
No, I could see you, but I'm sharing my screen, so I don't know what you can see. So, anyways, those are the 2021, according to Untapped, top. This is based by the most check-ins.
Yeah, it's based on the most check-ins, which is such a fucking stupid stat.
So, anyways, the only surprise on here is the Brewdog, for sure. Top 3.
Yeah, that's pretty surprising. Yeah.
Everything else, the Birra Moretti is again a Euro. It's a EU beer. The Tripel is a Belgian. It's brewed from like a Belgian monastery recipe. It's a good beer and it should belong there. Everything else is
Stella Artois. Holy shit.
Everything else is swill. Stella Artois has its place.
No, it doesn't. Fuck that beer. Do you like it?
No, it just has its place though. Like I'll find something else. But
what's with like the knife shit on the foam? Like I don't get why they like are creating their own culture around this fucking beer
because
that's not even that good.
it's a gold rimmed glass. So, anyways,
I don't give a fuck.
those
It's Jessica Parker, and I don't want to. I don't want to watch that. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to see it. Get it off my TV.
Those are my thoughts on the top 10 beers.
I did see this as well. Yeah, I don't know if you want to hear my thoughts because I cut you off.
Yeah, no, JT, that's it for episode 160. No.
All right, that's it. Episode 160. Join us next time when we talk about butt chugging. Guinness. That surprised me. That Guinness was number one. I know that there's a lot of Guinnessers. The Punk didn't surprise me as much because the people who use Untapped are craft beer drinkers. So what's the most popular craft beer? I guess Punk IPA is probably not the most. In my head, it's probably Sierra Nevada or something. Like maybe
it's because they're dual continent.
Tire or something.
Brewdog is dual continent, so they're Euro, and they have a big. So that's why, like Corona, like come on.
Miller Lite. That I mean, I checked into on Christmas or on New Year's Eve of 2019. I checked into about like 30 Miller Lights. So that's probably partially why this is so high, because people check into so many of them on the same day. It's not Punk. I think it's Guinness that surprises me. And checking into Guinness on Untapped to me is like telling the world that you drink wine.
Yeah.
You want people to know that you drink wine. You want people, no offense, Randy Orton, you want people to know that you drink Guinness.
It's also like you want people to know you drink wine. It's like also you want people to know that you live in Oakwood. I mean, if it's going to go there.
Like me in particular, I do. So I want you to know that. I'm kidding. I never say that. Do I say that? I probably do. I did wear an Oakwood sweater for one of my videos, but that's because it was a gift.
Yeah.
But yeah, no offense, Randy Orton, and no offense, Chuckalo's Phil, who's a wine connoisseur. But there's no reason to say you drink wine other than wanting to know people or wanting other people to know you're a wine drinker. You have a distinguished palate. You're an expert. You spend money on drinks.
More times than not, when I go to the store, I buy my wife a couple bottles of wine. She's got a pretty good wine rack. My in-laws have an amazing wine rack. So it's just walk downstairs. Oh, I want a dry or white. Just tell me what fucking bottle.
Just tell me.
What? It's nice because they appeal to so many different people. If you want a rich red or a sweeter white, like and then they worry when they don't have it. That's awesome to care about that. I can only care about that in booze and beer, where my in-laws, they care about it in booze. My father-in-law's bourbon collection is fantastic. Oh, we killed a good bottle. And then in wine. They're getting there in beer. I leave a lot of beer at their house strategically planted, but it's nice because that's how you know that you're a consummate host. Appeal to all three varieties: wine, booze, and beer.
Yeah. I don't only drink beer. I don't want to give the impression that like I hate everything else. But personally, I don't like wine. I've tried it a million times. People say it's an acquired taste. Actually, no one's ever told me that it's an acquired taste. People just say like, "Here's the wine, and it's great." And you should, if you don't get why it's great, then you don't get it. So I don't get it. That's fine. And I'm okay with that. I like beer. I like whiskey. Whiskey, I mix. Bourbon, I never mix. But I don't drink those things very often.
Yeah.
I drink beer, and I always have beer. If you want to be accommodated, beer's the way to go because there's something for everyone. That's really why I've kind of clinged to beer. It's really no offense. But I will say the first time I ever felt like antsy, I guess. You know, people leave their alcohol out for parties. And I do too. And I never had any concern with it. If you want to drink that scotch, drink that scotch. If you want to drink that bourbon, drink that bourbon. But we had gotten our hands on some Wellers, and I'm figuring it out, but I'm still kind of on the fence about whether or not this is hype or not. But people were drinking it at my Halloween party, and I was like, ooh, don't drink all that because it's really hard to get. That was the first time I ever felt that feeling about actual alcohol. Now, I know people feel that about wine a lot.
So my as we go on deck is going to be our year in beer, and I'm excited because I haven't even seen mine. So
You
we're
haven't
gonna
seen
do
your
it.
own?
We're gonna do it live. We're gonna do it live on the podcast. My in-laws, their cousins have 1,000 bottle wine cellar, and I heard the story when they invited us graciously to their house, and they're very well off. Um, they live in like Oakwood Plus, and they had a bunch of people go down in their wine cellar and just start pulling bottles, hundreds of dollars. It would be like people going into my
Who are these
cellar,
people?
friends and family, because they have a targeted party, and the wife just went down there and they lost thousands of dollars in bottles that they don't remember, that they didn't have any representation on or whatever. So the party that I got invited to, the wine cellar was open, but there was just red tape over like the 250 bottles that they didn't want touched. And that's awesome. It's a great story to tell. It's a terrible experience to go through.
That's the thing. I think that wine drinkers and beer drinkers are different in that way. If you told me go into my cellar, and I know some of the beers you might have,
yeah,
I'm going mid. If you say pick anything you want, we'll drink it together.
Yep.
No matter what you say, even if you absolutely demand I grab the best beer I can find, I'm going mid tier because in the morning you will not have wanted me to grab the top tier beer in your cellar. I think wine drinkers don't think like that. They're like, let me grab the oldest, fanciest shit I can find. If this thing's been in here since 1890, we're gonna fucking break it open at an ugly sweater party because fuck it, who cares? But that's not how. I don't think beer drinkers are like that. I think, at least personally, I would not do that.
So I have a lot of money and I have a lot of inertia behind. So everything is a story. Obviously I do a podcast. So like when I host parties, I have people bring their own beer. Drink what's going to make you feel comfortable and is what's going to keep you there longer. Later, I'm going to start targeting beers because I pick out beers for I know who's coming. And I'll hand you a $20 beer, $15. Take this home with you. Don't drink it here. Drink what you brought, and I'm going to bring out some other stuff. And I do that all the time. I've got a couple $500 beers that are just in places or whatever. And that are, but like
I'll never look.
When I went and saw my best friend, we were just trying. It just became a game of one-upsmanships. So I finally had an Abraxas. Abraxas is up there with my Warheads beer. It was in the top 5 beer that I wanted to have in the year. So I brought in Abraxas, and so it's a double-digit beer out of St. Louis. And I was like, oh, I really want this beer. So we cracked it. It was amazing, but it's like we were soon on to the next beer. But that's just how we are. Like when we went up to the cabin, like I got to have a Montessori, not a Montessori, a monastery beer from Belgium. Yeah, and it was a 2015. Again, another like life beer, like you have to go there or have to know somebody that's going to ship it to you. It's nice to have that story because that's where the resonance comes in.
Yeah.
And I like that. But for me, again, and I've said since day one, not smart enough to gift books or anything like that. What I gift is beer. And I like having that experience with you. So like JT was just saying, like you don't pop it at an ugly sweater party. Sometimes it happens because the alcohol inertia. But like it's like a one-on-one. Like let's just sit down and watch Rambo and we're gonna have like a $50 beer.
Yep.
Because
it's not about
that
the
experience
event.
is going to be amazing.
Yes, exactly. It's not about the event that you're participating in when you're drinking that elite beer or that hard to find beer. It's about, will you remember the surrounding circumstances?
Right.
If you drink 120 minute at an ugly sweater party, it's just blended into all the other Busch Lights, Coors Lights, Miller Lights, Bud Lights that you had that night. If you drink it watching Rambo with your friend and then you fall asleep and take a nap, maybe you're upset that you fell asleep, but you remember that day.
You want to know? You want to know what my favorite truth was, JT? My favorite truth. So I'm going to paint a story for you, and then we need to get into the beer in the review. So I had these really good friends, and they might still be really good friends. So we had a Christmas party. We invited our Christmas party, so we're hoping to have our next Christmas party, depending if it's Omicron. Catherine Zeta-Jones. By the way, did you see the outshout on my Christmas party invite to the Tribble Halloween party invite?
No.
That face you get when that was a complete outshout to you. So you didn't see it.
Right,
so I love seeing that.
The only thing I saw in your invite, honestly,
because it cut it down.
Distracted me was the date.
Cut it down.
And it totally fucked me up.
Yeah. So the date's boggered, but okay.
The date.
So, anyways, my favorite truth was we had these friends that they lived local, but they're like still invite us to things. So they moved to Chicago. So we invited them. We invited them to a party, and they came and they're like, we need a place to stay or whatever because they didn't live local anymore. So we're like, obviously you can sleep wherever. The man slept in our shower and the woman slept in the closet. But anyways, we made them comfortable.
Oh, so this wasn't me.
That next day, no, JT, we're not naming names. That next day, everyone severely not in a good place. I cracked a truth. I'll put myself in a bad place. I cracked a truth. I was like, this is what it's about. Yeah. This is we are all miserable. But the fact that, it wasn't chess, it wasn't checkers, it was just living in that miserable moment with three people that you absolutely adore. I was like, you know what? I'm going to have a truth. And that truth, it sucked how I was feeling. But in that moment, we were laying upstairs in a room that no longer exists. But the fact that, it was awesome in that moment.
It was awesome. Yeah. And what's funny about that situation is that for 6 months, that guest was like invited to the summer fling and was like, I can't go. And just lived it for 6 months, which honestly, as it sounds like a negative, but if you think about it, being distant, that not living it down for 6 months is actually a pretty good a compliment to the communication efforts of those people. But that's an awesome story.
Awesome story.
I honestly cannot. I don't know if I'm a subject in that story, but I don't remember a truth being cracked. And it's awesome that it was your favorite.
My favorite truth. Six with me to this day, and is still one of my favorite IPAs.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Hands down. And when I was looking over my year in review, it constantly came up in my Untapped. But because of my horrible ability to keep with Untapped,
that's why I knew mine was going to be Meteor because JT's probably checked into 5 beers this year.
I've taken notes over the year. I've taken notes. When I have a beer that I absolutely adore.
Chuggalos, you loyal Chuggalos, how often does JT take notes?
Go to www.johntribblesnotes.com and you will find my notes. Let me show you my notes. Here we go.
Notes.
Here's my
No,
notes.
it's falling. No, it's falling from.
You're a really good note taker. Here's the problem with me. I don't take a lot of notes on myself, but I do take really good notes on people that are that I'm responsible for. Because God forbid I talk to my boss and I don't know shit about the person that's on my team. Whew. I don't want that to happen.
On to my year review. That was
all right. Let's talk about this Hailstorm beer. It's Nichols, right? It tastes like Nichols. Let's go with Nichols. This beer tastes like Nichols. What do you think?
You want to do it, but before I get to my year, and I haven't looked at this yet.
Oh, you're going with your Untapped year in beer.
Yep.
I thought you were going to do your own year in beer. Did you do your own?
Yeah, it's on Untapped because I.
Oh, okay, good. Because I did my own, and you'll do your Untapped version. Okay.
Do you want to do your PowerPoint first?
No.
Okay.
Not at
So
all.
this is my Untapped year in
Whoa,
beer.
You had 126 million beers?
No, I haven't looked at this. So, anyways, this year our users checked in. I haven't looked at this yet. I did look at the top 10 beers. So, anyways, and together 60 million liters, 24, and it was an Olympic year this year because of COVID. Thank you, and it's an Olympic year next year. Thank you,
Two
COVID.
Olympic years in a row. Is the United States is not participating or
They are, but not diplomatically. So they're sending their athletes, but not the important people. Okay, so I'm clicking on this for the first time.
I already looked at mine. It was sad.
Okay, there we go.
Check in a lot.
Check-ins.
Whoa,
327.
That's really good.
So almost. I will get. I honestly on Christmas Eve I just hit 1,500 beers. I just found that out the other day. Your average beer. So I like beer. 3.82 is awesome.
Yeah,
your first check-in. I am. I'm very optimistic. Very much
on
like
the audio side. Matt is going through the website, the Untapped website, and
this is my reaction. My journalistic integrity. I did not click on this. I wanted to so much. So,
oh man, that's great. I clicked on it immediately.
I know, but you don't check into Untapped. So this is.
Yeah, but I had a lot of check-ins. I had like 100 check-ins.
Yeah, 100 check-ins when I bring in 280 and 327. So
well,
JT,
we did like 300 just on the podcast. Not really. We did like 104.
Yeah.
But go back up to that. You had an increase.
Yep.
In 47 beers.
It's pretty awesome. I love that smoothie beer.
First check-in was a smoothie sour. I remember that.
Yeah, that's the brewing project. That's my hometown right there. Love it. I love that's my first. Your top beer. There's a lot of fives. So.
How many fives do you think you had?
I didn't look. Did you look? You know how many fives you have out of the 100 beers you rated?
Yeah, I do. I know how many.
Okay. Is it in your PowerPoint?
Yeah. Well, there's a couple not in my PowerPoint.
So look at this. So that's not fair because look at this. I have my next four. I remember these.
Yeah, would Decadence or Blueberry whatever be higher?
Yeah.
Right. Your best beer of the year.
They're all good. See.
That's probably sorted
I'll click on this. Oh, it's bringing up a new. Oh. Okay, so that's a bad. Beer styles. 86 different styles out of 225, so a third.
Out of 225, that's it, huh?
I'm not surprised by the sour fruited.
Yeah, me neither.
Top beer styles in Untapped IPA. I'm right here, so I'm with the community. I'm 100% with the community. And we can view the wheel styles. Okay, that's a terrible. I'm gonna click back. 184 breweries. Brewing project, again, hometown. TG, not surprised. Untitled Art, hitting the big
I'm
ones.
surprised with TG. 7 beers?
Oh yeah.
I think I've tried 3 or 4 maybe total.
I will
Art, I would
I
expect
will pay
20.
$25 for a 4-pack for Toppling Goliath. I did it 3 times this year. So this is going to tell the story later in the year. All 5 of these. On average, each person 21 different breweries. So on average, 21 different breweries. Matt did 184. Boom, 7 times is 9 times the average. Math in public.
But how many did you visit?
Yeah. I hate visiting places. That's fine.
Yeah, I know.
53 venues.
53, the Church Room Bar and the Church Room Bar are your top 2.
Look at that.
Look at that.
Boom.
Table, nailed it. Barrel House, nailed it. DeFours.
Here's the part.
Campground.
Best part, the cabin is not on there, and we had a bunch of dynamite beers at there. And I'm the number. Boom, and then my best friend.
Well, obviously. God, if someone was, look at that.
Party.
Look at me. I'm the top drinking buddy. That's what you want. When your parents tell you who their drinking buddies are, that's what you remember.
And 14 friends. Thank you, Chuggalos, for checking in with me.
Yeah, thanks, Chuggalos, for checking in with me.
317.
Let's name all 14. We got JT. We got Mikey. We got Stev. Dr.
You're not naming my big ones.
You got Chuggalo
Ryan. Chuggalo Ryan.
Chuggalo hold on, I'll get it. Who's the deployment dad? God, why am I blanking on his name? We haven't talked about him in a while. I'll remember. I got a fucking stink bug in this room right now, and it's just getting hit by the ceiling fan. And it's getting boom right against the wall. Boom right against the wall. Because it's getting hit by the ceiling fan. And it is, I'm like, I don't want to get stunk on. But who's the deployment dad? His name is Chuggalo
Stivers.
And then you got
or Chuggalo Dave.
Who?
Chuggalo Dave or Chuggalo Stivers.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Yes, that's what I was looking for. And then after that, I don't know who else is on Untapped. I get the 14. I'm at like 7 though.
There's a lot of people that don't listen, but still tag me and stuff or whatever and give me conversation pieces. So, anyways, thank you all for an amazing year. I almost did a beer a day, which is both sad and fun at the same time. But God, it's a lot of fun.
It's not sad.
So that's the first time I looked at that. So it was nice to do.
You're not drinking literally 1 beer per day.
It was nice to do that as a live reaction.
Everyone knows. Yeah,
and it was so tough because if you look in my email, when did I get that year in beer? I got it on the 15th. So it's been almost 2 weeks and I didn't look at that.
Wow, you're a beast. You don't strike me as the kind of guy who leaves emails unread.
No, I read the email, but it gives you a hyperlink to that website.
Leaving them unread is how I keep them in my to-do list.
No.
Yeah, I have like 1,000 unread emails.
I mean, I can show both my emails were the first 2, both my Gmail and my email.com.
Yeah. I know that you don't check brewcrewpodcast@gmail.com because I always clear that cache.
I tried to sign in and both the recovery phone numbers end in 91, so I can't recover it from
91.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so weird. Who's 91?
It's not me.
Is that Cobra? Because I don't have a 91 number.
Yeah, it was like
Here's for all the Chuggalos out there, especially like I know that we're right on the cusp of being like the Joe Rogan podcast. I know you guys want my phone number. Here it is. It's 991. Oh, I guess mine is a 9-1 number. Yeah. All hand movements in between the first and the last. If you're listening audio, I did a bunch of hand movements. That was me thinking the phone number out loud.
See, this is the best part of it being a digital podcast is I could screen share, and I knew like I was going to have a lot of stuff to share digitally.
Mm-hmm.
It just conveys better during the video, which we're killing it on the video. People either play it in the background. Yeah. It's multimodal because if you don't look at it, you can still listen to it.
I do the most podcast listening in my car.
Yeah.
And I don't watch videos in my car, obviously, because I'm driving. So you got to have the audio, but video is where we're definitely doing the best.
Yeah.
Is Dr. still a subscriber?
Still don't know. We asked that a couple of episodes ago. I'm guessing he's still a sub. Our subs from the Advent calendar went up 11. So thank you, new subs.
So that's double digits is what we're talking about.
Thank you, new subs.
I think I might have fucked up with Dr. Because I was talking about how his wife was on fucking magazine and that I felt that was like cheating. And I think maybe that was too much. I shouldn't have gone there. That's what I think. But Hailstorm Brewery out of Tinley Park, Illinois, they make this beer called Night Moves. And I don't know how far along you are on that beer, but yeah. Oh, you're done. I'm far from done. I think it's Nichols, but I want to hear your score first.
So I appreciate that conversation as I spilled it on my Woofle shirt. That's a Gildan, so I probably won't wear it too much
Gildan
more.
Woofle shirt.
God, Gildan is just such a cheap cotton. So, anyways,
they do what they can.
It tastes like the cake where the raspberry filling, and I like raspberries. I've said this multiple times during the Advent calendar. Cherries, raspberries are the home runs when you put them in beer. It's like the sugary, it's hyper sugary raspberry filling. You put an extra layer of it. Off the top rope. JT said it in the first beer. You can't taste the alcohol in this second one. This is because the milk sugar destroys the alcohol. This one tastes like I could give it to a friend and be like, this is like a 2.5 or a 3. And they'd be like, oh, that's terrific. But then they're sleeping on your couch for the next 3 days.
Yeah.
Off the top rope, I like this beer better than the first one. It does have some detractions from it, like JT said. It doesn't taste like who's tasting Nichols. Pennies have a taste to them. Nichols don't. That just shows you that he grew up on the gilded path, and I didn't.
I did. We were rich. We had nickels, not pennies. We were eating nickels back then.
Off the top rope, 4.5. It's delightful. You are blessed that you received this as a gift.
Wow.
This is a good beer.
Here's the thing. I'll start by saying I do not disagree with you that I am blessed for having received this as a gift. To have a nephew so young that understands my likes.
That came from your sister who just celebrated her birthday.
Well, it came from her son. He picked the gifts. Let me actually show you something here. Very important because he was my secret Santa. Where the fuck is it? I'll be right back. Here it is.
So I'll carry it while JT.
No, I'm back already.
I'm surprised he doesn't have to pee. I've had to pee twice.
Go.
No, I said I've had to pee twice, and I can still talk.
Santa in our family is like this thing where it's like we have a minimum, but there's no maximum, but we're all kind of scared to go like over. But sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. My nephew got me this beer. He got me another Hailstorm beer, which was part of the forklift operator series. And then he got me this, which shows you that my nephew, and he picked these. My sister may have bought the beer, but he picked it out. And he got me this, which I think is awesome. It's a Dayton map, and it's metal. It's a metal poster which is, I looked it up. It's not fucking cheap. And so he did all that by himself. This is his first year in the Secret Santa because he was previously a child.
Yeah.
Prior to his 18th birthday, he was part of the you get gifts every year. Well, now that he's an adult, graduated high school, has a full-time job, he has to participate in the adults Secret Santa. He delivered so well. I appreciate it. Having said all that, this particular beer tastes like Nichols. I do see where the chocolate and raspberry flavor they are, but it's fake. It's the fake flavor that Matt always talks about. It's just like this. It's like this syrup that someone made that contains neither chocolate nor raspberry, but has a flavor that somewhat mimics chocolate raspberry. And they were like, it's chocolate raspberry syrup. Let's put this in. And they put that in this beer. Personally, I think that the forklift operator series from Hailstorm is phenomenal. I'll stick with that. Whatever the fuck this Night Move shit is, I do not like it. It tastes metallic. It tastes like Nichols. That was the first thing that came to mind. The chocolate and the raspberry, they're not mixing well. This beer, to me, I really don't like this beer. I can finish it, so it can't be too low, but I just don't want to finish it. It's a 2.25 to me. Fuck this beer. But I do really appreciate that it was gifted to me by my nephew.
And that's what matters. Like, he put a lot of thought into it,
Mm-hmm.
like.
And the forklift operator beer that he did get me, which is another 4-pack that I didn't share with you, I'm sure will be great. I haven't tried it yet. But we have had forklift operator. I think it was a lime something. But Night Moves, not it. 2.25. It's just all metal. Ugh, I don't like this beer. That's it. So do you have to pee? Because I can talk.
No, I've gone twice already, and I can talk the whole time because I've got a.
Oh, that's right. You have gone. Yeah, because you have the mic. You have the headset.
It empowers my bladder.
All right, so this is a good point. If you don't mind, and this is not a demand, this is a request. If you could pull up my PowerPoint, I'll go over my top beers of the year. I don't know if you have a top beers of the year, but I have two things that I really focused on. I didn't feel like it was horribly appropriate or terribly appropriate to talk about worst beers of the year because I feel like we just shit on Wild Ohio the whole time. And while we do that when we drink Wild Ohio, at the end of the day, there's still some brewer behind that beer. And I don't think we should shit on it totally. Like completely. It's not the best beer I've had. I definitely haven't found a Wild Ohio I've liked. But that doesn't mean that it's wrong for everybody. So I didn't go with a worst beer, although I did just give it to you as the Chuckalo listener. What I did was I put together what I've considered to be my favorite beers of the year, starting with Wicked Weed. Wicked Weed has a facility in Asheville, North Carolina, called the Funkatorium. Absolutely great name. I don't know if Matt, of course you remember the Funkasaurus, who is now, oddly enough, a contributor to Fox News.
You're talking about Brodus Clay.
Brodus. He was the Funkasaurus, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy. But they have a Funkatorium, and at the Funkatorium, they only sell spontaneous fermentation beers. They sell sours, and I think that's it. Maybe the farmhouse ales, obviously, like this one, but I think that kind of fits into this spontaneous fermentation kind of thing. This beer was on tap at the Funkatorium when Caterade, myself, Chuggalo sister, and Chuggalo Bobby went to Asheville, North Carolina together. This was on the list. Actually, a couple appearances of Asheville on this list. But this beer was like, I really like peaches. Matt and I have talked about this before. I don't know that he 100% likes peaches, but
Peaches are disgusting.
the room I'm in right now is my office that I work in on a day-to-day basis. I just want to show you how easily accessible peaches are to me. I keep jars of them in my mini fridge in my office because it's a perfect snack, a wonderful fruit. I love peaches so much.
JT has never, ever, ever prepared. That jar of peaches will not be there in 2 weeks. I guarantee it.
Oh no. Oh well.
Never prepared. Never, ever fucking prepared.
Here's a jar. Here's a jar. I'll give you all these jars of peaches. I got so many jars of peaches because I'm so prepared for peaches. Look at this shit. I'm a peach fiend. And it's not bought. You know, Matt, that I don't prepare hardly at all.
Nothing. Yeah, hardly at all. When you say you don't prepare it, zero.
So you know that I did not go out and buy these peach jars just for this podcast because God, that would mean I prepared, and I don't do that. But the Funkatorium has this Garçon de Firm, and the O in Garçon needs to have a little accent. It's a peach beer. It's very good. I would recommend it on tap over the bottle. I did buy a 4-pack on my way out the door. Not as good as it was on tap. On tap, it was absolutely fucking amazing. So if you get a chance to go to Asheville, please, is that the accent there, that arrow? Thank you for that downward facing accent. Next, if you wouldn't mind, again, not a demand, just a request. The next, I brought this up to Matt in passing, and I don't even know if you remember it, but
I remember everything.
I actually believe that Blind Pig is better than Pliny the Elder. It is a fucking awesome beer. Hands down, one of the best beers I've had all year. My wife got me an array of Russian River beers for Christmas 2020. Some Pliny, some Blind Pig, and there was a Pilsner. I can't remember the name of it, but it was on there. Matt has deleted the picture of Blind Pig. That's okay. I'm not sure why, but I liked it so much.
Oh,
this is why it's not a lie, because I've talked about it so much this year, and I don't know if you could see my photo or my video, but my wife got me a Blind Pig t-shirt from Russian River. It is so good. I highly, highly, highly recommend this beer. And this is not a knock on Pliny. This is a compliment to Blind Pig. Pliny, I also gave a 5. Loves the comfort of men, overreaction, shirtless. I wasn't shirtless. I don't show my nips. All right, I don't show my nips. Too much hair. There'd be too much reaction. I'd have there'd be feminine I don't know, feminine orgasmic reactions widespread throughout the United States, and we would have traffic jams because of it. So nipless, shirtless men. Nipless. That word to me sounds wrong, but it sounds funny as well. Have you had Blind Pig, Matt?
Yes.
Because that was the beer I was going to share with you. I'm glad that I now know you've had it. You don't like it? It's a 375 now. 5. All right. We disagree, and that's what this podcast is all about. Next slide. Platform beer, Chow Cannoli. Oh man, it did help this beer for me that my nephew, previously discussed, who now is a forklift operator, very proficient, professional young man on his way to great things. Previously, when he was still in high school, worked at an Italian restaurant in Chicago. And he did hook up my family with cannolis. I can't remember if it was 2019 Christmas or 2020 Christmas. I think it was 2020. Forklift this. So I had some of the better cannolis I've had in my life. And um, and then I had this beer, and this beer it really encapsulated the cannoli cream. So yeah, it's funny to say cream. I don't know why it's funny to say the word cream. But here's another thing that's interesting about this beer. It's not a stout. It is a sour. This is a cannoli sour. So this was like my first foray into like that sweet, creamy, um, but rich sour. And the morning whatever coffee sour that we had during the advent calendar was another JT loves carrot cake. When did I say that? I do like carrot cake, but I only like one specific carrot cake. Can you guess which carrot cake I like?
You're not reading it. I go, you said this is an interesting fact. I go, that's not interesting. So this is me
What
real
was the
life.
interesting fact? I don't even remember why.
You said this is an interesting
It's
fact.
interesting that this is a sour. That's not interesting to you? You think a cannoli beer should be a sour always, and it's just boring?
Always.
Boring
Oh,
fact. This is a sour. Now, when I posted this as a 5 on Untapped, Stev did ask me where he can get it. Carrot cake, by the way, is pretty much trash across the board. However, I don't know if they have this in Wisconsin. Do they have Market Day?
Yeah.
Market Day's carrot cake is phenomenal. Period. End of story. Next slide, please. All right. AleSmith Brewing, obviously, barrel-aged decadence, fantastic beer. Also, website, way too busy. Their website was like, and I hadn't had any alcohol at the time when I took this screenshot. I was completely sober, and my mind was like blown at how much shit was on this website. There's way too much going on. You need to scale it back. But the Decadence 2011, definitely the first barley wine that I've given a high score to. But man, that beer was good. Website is bonkers. 2011, balls out, all caps, no shade, amazing. No shade. Who said that?
I said it. No shade. It's
You
amazing.
like my slides, by the way, like I formatted these slides.
This is a good slide. It's fantastic.
It's too busy. There's so much going on their website. All right, next slide. AleSmith Decadence. We've already covered it in great detail. Now, this is not my beer of the year. No, it is my beer of the year. Actually, I'm trying to think of which my beer of the year was. My one beer of the year. I think it was this, but it also was my website of the year because this website is so awesome. I don't know who out there follows like metal artists, and I don't even know if that's a category, but there's an artist out there from a band called Every Time I Die. His name's Jordan Buckley, and he makes wonderful art. And all of the art on this, I actually have a tattoo of a Jordan Buckley piece, but this art reminds me of Jordan Buckley, and it's just such a vibrant website. I wanted to say inviting, and that's why I stumbled a bit. It's not inviting, but it's attractive in the way that it's really attractive art. It's just you want to see this art more. Unfortunately for Burial, as you click through the links, there's no more art. There's just this page. That's it. This homepage here. However, the names of their beer are Panic at the Disco song titles, but way better. Excommunication from the Altar of Nonconformity is the name of this beer, and it had cinnamon, lemon zest, shortbread, and Mexican vanilla bean. This beer was fucking awesome. The second I tasted it, it was great. From the first sip to the last sip, phenomenal beer. Burial is a wonderful place to go. There's a lot of fucking posers. I don't like using that word particularly, but I felt really out of place at Burial just because it's metal and it's craft beer, but at the same time, there's all these like hipsters like everywhere at Burial. They're so prevalent, but there's like a few people, mostly the waiters and waitresses, who are like kind of your ilk. If you're a metal person, Matt with the Deftones, myself with a couple other more, I don't know, unknown things. And I felt like they got it, and like Matt would be appreciated, I would be appreciated. But then there was like all these other people who are like, I'm a beer drinker. Look at me. Oh, I'm a hipster. Cool. And they were like not Burial's type. But Burial, take your money. So the experience wasn't great, but the beer was fucking awesome. Off the chains. Best. It's not my beer of the year. It's my brewery of the year. It's my website of the year. Burial Beer Company out of Asheville, North Carolina. Fucking awesome job. That's it. Now, I think there's still more slides. Small victories of 2011. I don't know, Matt, if you have any small victories.
Oh, yeah.
Do you? Okay, well, my small victories are that other than Goose Island, which, come on, Goose Island, right? Am I right? Hey, you no longer have to put your birthday in the websites. It just asks you if you're 21 or older, and you click yes. Like on Rheingeist's website, there's not even an option to choose no, which is awesome, because fuck that birthday shit. It took way too long. Next small victory of 2021 was not this slide. Randy Orton is my Oakwood lover. That's true, actually. Not a slide I made, but Randy Orton and I are Oakwood lovers. The actual small victory of 2021 was the Advent calendar. What a phenomenal experience. I know that I fell behind a little bit, but I had an absolute wonderful time. The only lessons learned I'd have from that experience was, one, more diversity. I want to try shit that I normally wouldn't have, like the English mild, the English bitter. And secondly, I don't want any standards in there. Even if I'm trying a beer type that I've had numerous of, sours, stouts, IPAs, I don't want like fucking Rheingeist Dad or Yellow Springs fucking common grocery store beer. I want something crazy. And those are the lessons learned, and we learn them along the way. That's it. Those are my small victories. Advent and whatever the other one was. Not having to put your birthday in the websites. Look at that. I'm drinking a blue beer. That's really good. How did you do that so quickly?
I have my PowerPoint badge, so I'm gonna
you're so good at that. You are definitely an officer in these United States Department of Defense Armed Forces, because your PowerPoint is on point.
Oh, that was terrible, but I appreciate the ingratiating comments that you just made.
It looked like I was dripping blue beer down my face.
So,
your small victories.
My small victories were that we're going into year 4, and we are still committed to this podcast.
Yeah.
Small victory.
That's a big All nickels. I can't drink it anymore.
That's why I finished it really quickly. Favorite beer of the year. I'm so excited. It shouldn't be any surprise to most people because I've talked about it a lot. Is Bell's Double Two Hearted? God, it's so good.
Hearted. I don't think I've had that one.
So good. The almost beer of the year was the almost beer of the year was the Bell's Lighthearted. God, it was so good. And
what a great light beer.
That's why I said, like, when we were scrolling down, like, Bell's was on the bottom because I didn't check in every time I had it. And my style was light IPAs. God, light IPAs dominated my fridge. Light
IPAs, hands down, for sure. Yeah.
For like 7 months out of the year, like, I was so attracted. The light IPA of the year is the Mad Tree. Oh God,
yeah,
it's so good. So something that I came up with on the fly as we're going towards the end of this, and we just turned into an unplanned cacophony, which is where the magic.
Again, we can go as long as you want.
That's where I said
Like
where
only
the magic really happens. I'm just getting to the end of my list. So you have a website of the year. You had a website of the year?
I did, and it's not my place to have that. And I did think
No, that's fine. So you have a gimmick. It's called the can art boner segment. What's your can art of the year?
My can art of the year?
So you gimmick infringed.
Let me think.
You have a website of the year. The can art boner has been episode 1 through 167. What's your can art? So you come onto the website.
Yeah, let me think about it. That's a good
question. Oh, yeah. Thanks for coming prepared. So I'm going to gimmick infringe on the guy that just wanted to do websites.
What's your can art of the year?
I'm not going to gimmick infringe.
What's your website of the year?
I wasn't going to have a website of the year, so I was trying to come up with. So I wrote down here WTF. That was a live reaction.
You had some pretty good website reviews this year.
There were some good websites out there. None of the, I mean, I gave them in the moment. But JT for 4 years, can art boner segment throughout. Everyone can have everyone. It's not a gimmick infringement. Blah blah blah. No one will ever impinge. No one will ever impinge. No one will ever impinge. One of
a kind. No.
I sheath.
No podcast out there rates websites. That's a fact.
Right, but the websites has been a new thing, and I only do it. I do
have a winner.
I only do websites on half because JT doesn't let me know what beers we're drinking ahead of time, but he can do can art immediately.
What do you mean I don't let you know ahead of time? I dropped this beer off at 7:09 last night. That's way ahead of time. We're drinking.
When did you? Okay. I've got you twice. When did you let me know that you dropped off that beer?
When did I let you know I dropped it off?
Yeah.
It depends.
Okay.
When did I let you know I was going to drop it off? 4:30 yesterday. When did I let you know I did drop it off? I don't know, 10 a.m. today.
Okay. How did you let me know that? Did I prompt
you? You asked me.
Okay. So JT dropped off a bag of beers.
A bag of beers, which I thought would have been something.
These are more here. These are more. How am I supposed to do a website review when I don't know what we're drinking?
You do a website review of all 5.
Okay. Excellent. So you did a really good job. That's the beauty of the Ken Art Boner segment. Right. He can react immediately to it.
Yeah.
He's done the Ken Art Boner segment for 164 episodes. We probably didn't come up with it immediately.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah. So I've done the website review for like the last 35, 40. And I do it immediate because no one lets me know ahead of time what they're drinking. Or, so I can do it in the moment. My computer is recording. So that's where I've got you pinned twice. So on this, he drops off 5 beers. I don't even know what we're drinking before we hit the record button.
I dropped off 5 beers. I thought you'd be like really happy with that. I thought you'd be into it.
No, I'm super happy. But you tried to pin me against it. I'm like, bam, I've got you.
I'm going to fuck this guy over by giving him 5 free beers. I'm going to be like, fuck you, man. These beers are going to rock your world. No. But you're right. It would be inappropriate to go to all the websites. And actually, the first beer you showed was, remember when I brought that shitty beer? I don't remember what it was.
Episode for like the last 10 out of 12.
2 or 3 weeks.
When like one beer's good and one beer's like a throwaway gas station beer.
Yeah. That first beer you showed was the other beer I brought. Now everything else.
So discreet.
The hailstorm was always planned. Well, planned since I got it on Christmas.
Planned. When do you plan? You plan 15.
Here's what I had planned for an in-person podcast: Hailstorm and Blind Pig. And if you said when you got here or when I got there that you had already had Blind Pig, I didn't care. We were still going to do it.
Never had Pig. Check my Untapped. You have the ability to check what beers I've had.
Yeah, I'll check. But you said you had it, and I trust you.
During the podcast. You drop these beers off ahead of time.
Mm-hmm. Have you had Blind Pig?
No.
By Russian River.
No.
Why did you say it sucks? You said it was a 3.75.
It's giving you shit.
You can't give me shit.
I know, but it doesn't count. JT doesn't get the high ground on this situation because I said it during the podcast. He told you guys already, you guys are the judge and jury, that he dropped this beer off last night at 7:00.
Yeah, 7:00. Which to most people is like right after dinner.
Yeah. Which it was. But how were you going to be like, oh, you didn't tell me till that you dropped it off. I didn't discover it till today that, I would have been like, I've already had Blind Pig. I left the bag sealed.
No,
and I just
Blind Pig was going to be a beer we share.
Yeah.
Because Caterade only got very few of them. And
Yeah.
I drank one by myself. The second
details.
one I was going to share with you. But I don't think, or maybe I will since you haven't had it. I probably still would. I'm trying to find this brewery. God, I wish I could remember. If you go to Arrow and you look at the far right side of the front thing, I'm going to find the Canner of the Year is absolutely phenomenal. I think Stev actually shared it with us. I'm going to have to find it.
Only been doing the Canner Boner segment for 4 years. That's
but
fine.
I wanted to give a little fresh perspective. And when I went to the Burial website, I was blown away.
Yeah. So while JT's looking for the words, I have things to bring us down, and I'm going to close out a beer here soon. So my space beer that I ordered back in October, that the hops, got to go to space for a couple of days, that was delayed. They tried to deliver it when I was in Wisconsin for the week. That's going to be delivered here on Thursday when I know I'm going to be home. I have a question for JT, but I feel like I'm going to oversaturate him because he's trying to find his craft beer of the year, even though it's his gimmick.
No.
The other one was, I alluded to it. I just hit 1,500 unique beers, not, and I have friends that are thousands over me, but I feel pretty impressed with my 1,500 unique beer check-ins. And that's an apology for all the beers I didn't check in for the longest time. But my craft beer resolution, I'll have this, and I'm going to allow JT, I need to give him time to breathe for 2022.
2022. All right.
My craft beer resolution is to, and this is organic, I just wrote it on my list. I didn't have anything. Is to engage in more gimmicks.
Engage in more gimmicks. From breweries?
Engage in more gimmicks, whether it's, so my biggest surprise during the advent calendar was an English bitter.
Yeah.
So not to turn my head away from like a sour or an IPA or whatever, but like if I see something like that, and because they have such a small market share, is to, and this is why I wanted to make it organic, because is to pursue those to make sure that breweries can diverge from drinkability with a Pilsner or an IPA, which is the market share, or a sour, and go off on something, because that English bitter was such a surprise.
It was. Yeah, I would agree that
I'd like to reinforce that.
There's sours, IPA, stouts, porters, and maybe Berliner Weiss. Ales, lagers. We don't do a lot of those on the podcast, but those are also standards. I would agree that if we could get more into something like English bitters or some unusual, less common type of beers like that one, which maybe we can crack right now. You want to do it? Let's do it. Let me get it.
We're going to go off script because that's the end of my script. I'll show my script.
No, that was what I intended, was to maybe do more beers. A Banbury Farmhouse Ale. Ready? I can't see you, but if
yeah,
you're ready,
count it down. I'm ready.
This was primed like way good. 3, 2, 1. Ooh, right on the iPad. Definitely got. And if I wipe it, the iPad's gonna get all fucked up because it's a touchscreen. Try to do it with a paper towel here. Space beer delay. Space beer delay. Did you discuss that? I know you discussed the space beer, but did you say it was delayed? How much is it delayed?
It's going to be here Thursday. They wanted to ship it when I was going to be gone, but I was afraid that FedEx was going to be like, "Oh, we need a signature, and you're not there."
Woof. Woof. Taste this beer yet?
Yes.
What do you think?
I'm stopped sharing. This is fantastic. I love this.
I don't remember what I was talking about, but I saw a can art at Arrow the other day. I'm gonna find it, and it was so good.
It's so good. I mean, it's only your segment, so I mean,
name some Ohio breweries.
I'm not gonna gimmick and fringe.
Name them all. Let's go. Name them all. Platform.
Rhinegeist. Mantree. Taft. Toxic. Warped Wing.
Oh, it might be Toxic. I think it is Toxic, actually.
No way. It's not Toxic.
I think it is. Toxic is in stores now, by the way, everyone. Toxic is in stores now. I think it is. I think it's Toxic. They had the best can art of the year, I think. Toxic.
Still won't buy it.
Oh, this can art, you'd buy it. You'd be like, oh, that's so good.
I would buy it just to give it to you and talk to you about it. But anyways.
I think it's Toxic. Name some more.
Fatheads. Jack.
That's not Fatheads.
Great Lakes.
Toxic, honestly.
Platform.
Yeah, I think it's Toxic. Platform.
Yellow Springs.
Who are these people who are texting me right now? Don't text me. God, it was such good can art. It was like a beautiful woman.
JT, do you have
not in the way
time?
like,
over 2 hours? Are we over 2 hours? This is like our disintegration.
We're not disintegrating. We're actually amping up. This is the rise.
This is like a episode 100, 200, 300.
I'm gonna look up Toxic Brewery beers, and then. But this is our ascension. This is our longest episode already.
I don't think so. I mean, what's the time?
2 hours, 12 minutes.
Okay. Wow. We started recording. Okay. Because I have the total connect time.
Yeah, I have the total connect time too, and it's way more than that. Because we chatted, but I'm telling you, we're at 2 hours and 12 minutes. Is that our longest podcast ever?
It's gonna be close with like the Century Club.
I don't know where the Century Club was at. What do you think about Toxic Brewery?
Derivative for the longest time. I brought this up.
Yeah, it is.
Talking people off because they use the same malt, or they did for the longest time, and the problem is they did it for so long that they've ostracized me as a customer.
Well, did you know they've brewed 300 beers?
I'd believe it. I mean, because they change one ingredient. It's really easy.
That's true.
So anyways, just background. So we don't let you guys, the Chuggalos, into a lot of the background to this. So this is the year-end episode. If you're listening at this point, not just like skipping ahead or whatever, JT and I planned to like hang out for today, but like Chuggalo mom, JT had to work all this week. So like we planned like weeks ago, like, I take my Christmas vacation ahead of time. JT takes his Christmas vacation ahead of time to hang out with family. The only reason why we were able to do this is because JT goes, I have to work that second week. We'll fit it in. We'll figure it out. Yeah. So Chuggalo mom, I know she's listening. The tough thing is we're having to like compact this. So it took away like JT and we were going to just hang out off camera. Because we don't do that enough. A lot of this is for the camera, and we're speaking to the camera. But a lot of this is I just want to sit and drink beer with one of my best buds, and watch Rambo or watch whatever like an action movie, and just go to the fridge and drink whatever. Because a lot of this, like we're doing it, and we thank you guys for listening or whatever. And the thing with this, and JT will never say this, but he's having to compact it because he's working all this week. Where this week for me, I'm off. I've got family stuff or whatever, and this week notoriously is off, like for Facebook and everything. The best part of Christmas to New Year's is in Wisconsin is everyone takes the week off and they just drink the entire week. So that's why I thank you guys for listening. I thank JT for taking the time to make this happen. I thank Chuggalo Mom because the sacrifices that she made to make this happen. Um, that that's it for the. I'll get my thank yous after, but I know JT, you made sacrifices to make this happen, and this normally upends your guys' holiday schedule, but you're working and making things happen. It's dark outside.
Is it? No, not yet. I appreciate that.
I'm going pee, but I'm gonna make this happen. So I'm
Yeah,
taking
you
my
can
beer
still
with me.
hear. I appreciate all that sentiment that you gave. It's my work is God, fucking constant. It's crazy. It's sometimes it gets to the point where it's like so much that it no longer matters. And you're spitting. There's a certain man who pisses and spits in his piss stream,
And
and you're it. And I
drinking.
like that about you. You're a rugged man. The whole
I'm
Wisconsin
not rugged at
from
all.
Christmas
I
to New
I need
Year's
a
thing,
tent, posturepedic mattress. Like,
you have that
oh
Posturepedic?
wait,
Cater
no,
has
I
on
would like
basically
it.
garbage mattress,
I would like it.
and it's great. Um, the whole thing of drinking from Christmas to New Year's, I
Yeah.
think there's some statistical correlation between that and having decent football team. I, you know, I've gone to Illinois every year, twice a year or more, since I left Illinois for the Navy, and I'm becoming less and less confident in their ability to be representative of like a competent fucking sports fan. They're all fucking idiots by and large. But the one thing that they're getting right now is the Fire Nagy thing. However, Wisconsin sports fans, and it pains me to say, are so much better at uh, basically fableizing, not in a lie kind of way, but like making their things into a Homer, the Odyssey like story. They
Yeah.
are better at Homerizing their drinking. And I have always been jealous of that. I think it's a fantastic thing. Chicago drinkers are just kind of fucking novice, normies, idiots. Bears fans are clowns. They're fire Nagy without firing pace. It's a complete like just losers view of the problem in Chicago with sports. Um, Having said all that, I don't even know why I brought it up. Probably because you said you drink from Christmas to New Year's, and I want to say the same thing, but I don't do that. I'm gonna work most days. I did, however, find the beer that has the can art of the year. It was Toxic Brews. Uh, it was Toxic Brews In Search of Heaven, which has this woman on it, which is vibrant. It is realism. It is fantastic. You turn the can, it's her full face. It's not just a half a face. Very well done art. Catches your attention like you wouldn't believe. It's at Arrow. All the toxic beer is on the second from the top row. I guess row being shelves. Second from the top, second from the end on the second from the top shelf, and it sticks out like crazy. It's so vibrant, so great, and didn't just find this beer on accident. I was seeking this can art out. It is the can art of the year. It's so well done. If you get a chance, I don't know how the beer is. Fuck if I know. I never bought the beer, but the can art is so good. That's my can art of the year. So now I've done it.
That should be, it's our longest existing gimmick. It should be our year. It should be our award of the year. It really should be.
I don't know if Toxic should get an award from us though, because if we're going to spend our hard-earned money on an award, we should do it for the best beer.
Yeah, mine. I mean, what was your beer of the year?
My beer of the year was the Excommunication, blah, 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 non-conformity.
From Burial?
Burial.
Yeah.
And now if you and I could go to Asheville together, that would be a trip for the ages. We'd have like 30, 40, 50 hours of content.
Yeah.
But until that happens, we'll have to have separate beers of the year.
Yeah.
What was yours?
I mean, it was the Double Two Hearted from Bell's.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that it was the best beer. It was the feeling it elicited every time I had, and I had 12 Double Two Hearted during the year, and it was fantastic every time I had each 12. Like, I just ripped it. The buttery IPA is just fantastic. It doesn't need to always be like a fruity, zesty Rheingeist.
Right.
Sometimes it can be buttery.
Sometimes it can be buttery. And this, I actually wanted to bring up that this is the year I discovered Bell's in a good way. I discovered Bell's a long time ago. I was never super into them, but when they had the lighthearted, which I call half-hearted, and the what is that beer called? The baseball logo. What is that?
You did it. Baseball logo.
I can't believe I'm forgetting it. Which one?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking
about?
It's Bell's other beer.
Yeah.
I fell in love with Bell's this year. And I coached in youth baseball. I coached with a man who wears a Bell's ball cap every day.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing that I learned from doing the Advent calendar. We're on the downswing now.
No, we're still on the upswing.
One of the things I learned from doing the Advent calendar, shorter means a lot as we're going to 3 hours. We're going to the length of a Peter Jackson Lord of the Rings movie.
Well, that's a good thing.
Shorter means a lot.
We are an experienced podcast. We are
we're super experienced.
We're amongst the kings of podcasts. There's people who haven't even done this as long as we have, and we need a 3-hour episode.
Yeah. See, it's the year-end one.
Yeah.
My ambitious resolution would be I do a beer a week, because I've had so many people say that they watch the shorter episodes and not people that comment on the longer episodes. So
quit doing the long form podcast.
I'm not saying do that. I just might intermingle, because I'm looking at like our shorts right now. If I look, our shorts did gangbusters for a long time.
They did 40, 50, 60, 100 views.
Yeah. But
all right, let's do some shorts.
I know we've said that a lot. The shorts have been one, so
I'll do them. And you know what? Let's give YouTube access to Stev and Svil, maybe even Fasil. Maybe she wants to do some.
Oh, she's too busy. She's too busy. Once I said she wants to see more edited videos, and I go, I will allow you to edit our videos. She was like, oh yeah, she said that was her like, I want to see. And I go, okay, great, you have full access.
Like,
editing takes time.
Like cutting out silences and like adding like
There's not a lot of science. There's not a lot of silences in these podcasts. So
No, there's not. All right, Jolly Pumpkin, Artisan Ales, Bam Bière. I think that's how you say it. Farmhouse Ale. What do you think?
Bambier.
Bambier.
This is delightful. It's sweet in all the right places, while still being savory. So it's beer. Bier is the German for beer. So this is the French beer. Oak aged, can condition. So that just means it's sat for a while. It could sit for a long time. 4.5. It tastes bigger than what it is. It doesn't hide the booze well, but it lets you know that it's a beer and it's not a cider. But it's got the spiciness of a farmhouse because the farmhouses we knew from the calendar, the spiciness allows it to can condition. Off the top rope, this is a fantastic beer. This is a 4.75. This is fantastic for what it is as a farmhouse with the spiciness.
It's pretty spicy.
It's only a 4.5.
You said 4.75.
4.75. 4.5, 4.75, whatever. Doesn't matter. You don't even have a canner. Hailstorm. I'm updating the spreadsheet right now as I go.
All right.
We've had a hailstorm before. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's a
We had
forklift.
the forklift operator.
That was July of this year.
Oh, what a time! What a time to be alive! All right.
Look at that. JT's sneaking 3 beers in.
Beer, Jolly Pumpkin Artisan Ales. All right. I can appreciate that Matt has specified that this beer belongs in its own farmhouse ales category. The spiciness that he talks about is not spiciness in a hot kind of way, a hot sauce.
Herbaceous.
Not a Scoville thing. It's a spicy in a spice cabinet kind of way. Yeah. Would you say herbaceous?
Herbaceous. Herb.
Herbaceous. Herbaceous. Vavavoom. Herbaceous, as Ludacris would say.
Courageous, yeah.
Courageous, not courageous. Curvaceous.
Podcast of the year.
Podcast of the year in O Magazine by Oprah. We were rated Podcast of the Year. It's true. Look it up. You won't find contradictory information. I feel like the spiciness beer tastes like, I want to appreciate farmhouse ales for what they are. And I wish I was more experienced in them. I'm not. What this tastes like to me is when it tastes like the leaves of a crop that you eat. And what I mean by that is that corn, soy, even wild onions have part of the plant is the part you eat. The part that you don't eat is what this beer tastes like. Wheat even has like that top part that you don't eat. Gosh, I just don't. It tastes like cloves. It tastes like cloves. I don't know how much of a fan I am of this beer. I want to give it a score that's like appropriate for farmhouse ales, but I don't think I can do that. So I'm gonna have to give it a score based on my own opinion. Gosh, I'm just not into this beer.
It's good as a one-off. That's how I'm grading.
I feel like I'm like somebody's gonna drink this beer, somebody who's like a farmhouse ale guy or gal, and be like, whoa, this is a farmhouse ale as it's meant to be. But I'm not that person. And I think this beer is a 2.75. But that doesn't mean that it's wrong. I don't personally like this beer at all.
I'm with you.
That's where I'm at.
It drops off at the end. There's nothing that lingers. So, like, if you want something that it drops off very precipitously at the end.
Like I was talking earlier, way earlier, like 3 hours ago, about how there's these flavors that brewers put on these beers, and some of them are bullshit, like what the wine producers put on the wines. And I feel like you and I, after all these beers and all these hours and all these months, years into this podcast, I think the first 6 months to a year, we were like, I'm afraid to say that this sucks or that I don't taste this note because I'm not experienced. Now, though, if
we don't care.
See a can, we're like, I don't taste what you're telling me I should be tasting. And for that reason, this beer sucks. And we don't care, like you said. This beer, but this beer is a different feeling because I don't particularly understand farmhouse ales. And I don't know if a farmhouse ale is supposed to taste this shitty. Like, and this is actually a good beer. You kind of know what I'm saying? Like, maybe this type of beer is what it's supposed to be. I have no fucking clue. I don't like it, though. 2.75. That's this beer. And I was excited to give this to you because the Can Art bonus segment brought to you by Chuggalo. Well, I guess it's by Chuggalo, my nephew Frank. It's so good. This is Spot, the dog from Target.
The dog from RCA. Sorry.
RCA, yeah. RCA, or if he had a more rounded nose, he'd be, what was that dog's name? You know what I'm talking about.
Nope.
Spuds McKenzie?
Yep. Budweiser?
Spud McKenzie. I don't know. I like long-haired dogs. But I don't hate any dog. I fucking love dogs. Dogs are the best. Cats suck. And this can has won my heart. I saw it.
I don't know why they need to be mutually exclusive.
They're not mutually exclusive. I think that cats and dogs act differently, and they provide different feelings of comfort. And the comfort that certain people get from cats, I do not feel cats. I don't get it. I don't personally take that from cats, but dogs, oh man, dogs are great. What a wonderful animal. But I saw this, and oddly enough, I bought this. Where do you think I bought this? Did I already tell you?
We didn't go to Binion's. You only go to a couple places.
Binion's isn't a real place.
Binny's. And it wasn't Arrow.
I bought
crispy crunchy shell.
Nope. I bought this at Meijer, big box store.
Nope.
I'm really impressed with Meijer.
No, you're not.
I am.
Fake story.
They have a decent selection of local craft beer. They also have 75% of their aisle dedicated to garbage. But the 25% that's dedicated to craft beer, not bad. Lots of Wolf Ridge. Also,
lots of
Jolly terrible. Pumpkin.
Yeah.
Where's Jolly Pumpkin? Did I say where it's out of?
Nope.
I don't remember. It's out of Mahalo? Plenty? Is this a Hawaii brewer? Brewed and packaged by Jolly Pumpkin Artisan Ales. Dexter, what's MI?
Michigan.
Is that Michigan?
Yeah.
Not Missouri, because Missouri's MO, right?
Yep. Massachusetts is MA. Maine is ME.
Yeah.
Minnesota is MN.
Is MI actually
geographer?
Possible.
Geographer.
Is it California beer?
Geographer. Sorry?
Yep. I memorized all the abbreviations. Look it. Can Art of the Year. There it is. It's great. Toxic Brew of all places. All right, 275 for this beer. That's all I got. I gave my top beer of the year, gave my top website of the year, gave my top Can Art of the Year. I think I'm out of content.
I always have a ton more content. None of it is appropriate for this camera.
Really?
Oh yeah, I could keep going for hours.
What are you gonna say that's not appropriate?
That's the point. It's not appropriate for. I can't say it.
Fair enough. Well, I was gonna try to stretch it to 3 hours, but I don't think we're gonna make it to 3 hours.
Oh yeah, no.
This is our longest non-gimmick episode.
We have to keep some things sacred.
Something sacred.
It's I'm not willing to deploy. Ooh, I just got the message. We're not willing to deploy.
Oh.
The gimmicks. All the gimmicks. I'm not willing to deploy them all for the year-end episode for this one.
All right.
They'll come out.
This is episode 167. More importantly, it's the year-end episode of 2021. Coming up in your future, 2022. It's unavoidable.
It will be our 5th unique year of doing this podcast.
This podcast is a veteran in ways you wouldn't imagine. We made it through pandemics. We made it through presidential elections. We made it through, I don't know, whatever else we've made it through. And look at those hearts. And a mistletoe. Oh, lots of mistletoe. And a heart. Oh, wow. We're coming up to the camera. Just pretend like I also met you at that camera.
JT doesn't like contact. His family doesn't hug.
Our family doesn't hug. We don't touch. We all keep separate. That's the rule in my family. We keep separate. Actually, I'm really surprised because I've been, I don't even know. I don't know how to describe it without sounding like too private.
Sound it out. Don't be private.
Like my wife and I have held hands.
Oh,
among other things, and she has COVID and I don't. My point is that obviously I'm talking about more than holding hands.
Is it tough to socially distance when she has COVID in your guys' mansion? In your guys'
it's hard.
7,500 square feet.
When you live in such a large house, but you're so magnetically attracted to your own spouse, it's hard to be socially distanced. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like when I'm on the third floor, in the far quarters, the west wing, if you will, and she's in the lower quarter in the east wing. It's like magnetically attracted.
Get it. The lower corridor. The lower corridor.
The lower corridor. I don't know what that was, but sure.
Yeah.
Lower corridor of the east wing. It's like I float through the house, and I'm just magnetically attracted to her. But it's at the same time, I'm negative, and she's positive. How does that even work? I thought you just breathe on somebody and you get COVID.
Oh, you guys just have a fake marriage. You guys don't.
We have a fake marriage. It's true. You've exposed me. Our marriage is fake. We never got married. We need to renew our vows, but not renew. Actually, just do for the first time, I guess. No, they're real. We need to hire a priest for that.
The best.
Yeah, pay those guys.
Pay him
for free. I thought they were like, God will bind you as a married couple.
Yes.
Nope. You know what does? Checks. Cashed checks.
Oh, I thought you meant checks like the cereal.
Chex Mix, yeah.
Yep.
Did you get married in a church?
Yeah, full mass.
Cool. Full mass, that's episode 167. Wow. We learned so much. That's it. 2022 on the horizon. Bye.